Barakis, would you lead us off in the Lynn? 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 Lynn?
Hello.
Lynn Barakis, would you lead us off in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Oh, my goodness.
You gotta remember that from elementary school.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So why don't we all go down and have a little meet and greet with Lynn? Oh, I'm sorry, the invocation. Pastor, I'm so sorry. It's terrible. And he came in, Pastor Grossi from Calvary
Baptist Church.
Calvary Baptist Church. This is not starting off well, folks. And right across the river in Southampton.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. Should I turn this on, or
That is on.
Okay. Thank you for having me here, and let's just have a moment of prayer before we open the meeting. Father in heaven, we thank you, God, for this day that you have given us. We thank you for the privilege of being able to gather here together and to discuss the affairs of the town of Riverhead. And I just pray that your blessing would be upon this meeting, that your blessing would be upon everyone in attendance. I pray, God, that you would grant us wisdom and discernment as we discuss the matters pertaining to this town. Father, we pray that all that would be done, all that would be said here today would be done for your glory. We thank you and praise you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. James Grossi, thank you very much. Pastor, well done, and you're welcome to come anytime.
Thank you so much.
Lynn Barakis, why don't we come on down? We're going down. So, does anybody from the Water District want to come up? Tom?
I have no idea.
So, Lynn, I have to say, when you get the acrylic seal of approval, you've retired. And you started out in the supervisor's office, did you not?
I started out in the town attorney's
Town
office.
attorney's office. Well, I started out in the town attorney's office.
Yeah.
So you've led a long and distinguished career, and Lynn is retiring after 31, God bless you, years of service. Look, I could have read right here. You commenced your service as a legal stenographer in the town attorney's office, and on December 29th, 1997, you were appointed as an account clerk typist in the Water District, where you continued your employment until retirement. So, Lynn, if you had a water problem, or you needed a water bill, or as Heidi often gets final water readings, Lynn was the voice of the Water District for a long time. Lynn is a longtime resident, is a devoted wife. Is your husband Robert here?
My husband Robert.
Why is he not here? Come on up, Robert. Robert, come on up. You're good. Robert, you look familiar. So during her retirement, Lynn, who is a skilled equestrian, looks forward to spending time riding and caring for her horses. How many horses do you have?
I have 6 of my own.
Are you kidding?
No.
That's a lot of work.
I take care of 4 of us.
That's a lot of work.
And I did it all before work and after work.
And they did it all during work. Lynn has inspired and enhanced the lives of those who know her, including the staff, her family, and the entire community through her wealth of experience, knowledge, and contributions to the town hall and the Water District. Now, therefore, this proclamation is presented to Lynn to serve as a reminder that although she is retiring, she will always be remembered as a kind, considerate, and loyal individual dedicated to her position and the town of Riverhead. Her wealth is not measured only by monetary standards. We measure it by our people who have carved out and shaped the heart of the town of Riverhead, which Lynn Barakis has so defined. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed on behalf of the town of Riverhead, I, Sean Walter, Supervisor of the town of Riverhead, along with the entire town board, honor Lynn Barakis for her years of providing essential services to the residents of the town of Riverhead. And you want to give that to her?
Sure.
And I extend my personal best wishes for her retirement and continued success in life's pursuit. May God continue to bless you and your family.
Yeah.
All you got to do is stand right there. That's it. So, do you want to say anything?
I'll say a few things. Who knew that 30 years was going to start with this Trivial Pursuit game between my sister and Supervisor Joe Janoski at the time? But that's how I got my position, not but I didn't work for it, but that's how I got my position.
Did you win Trivial Pursuit?
I don't play Trivial Pursuit. I am not a voice-activated, encyclopedia of useless information. So anyway, I'm a Gemini, that's not my thing. So I just wanted to thank all of the residents of the town of Riverhead for letting me serve them for the last 30-plus years. And I guess that's it. Also, the employees of the town of Riverhead, I hope when speaking to you and to anybody that I could have shed a little ray of sunshine into their life and just live life like there's no tomorrow, because someday they may not be.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
thank you very much.
You guys want to take pictures? Louise and Tom, did you want to say anything? No. Go ahead, you have to stand in front, like, you want to hold your proclamation?
All right, let's squeeze
Hey,
the
John,
turn
hold that
sideways there
John,
for
hold
us.
that proclamation. John, hold that proclamation. Get, can we all get in there?
Like your husband, he doesn't wanna,
No.
you wanna come be in the picture?
Tom, look this way.
All right, get a picture of her husband right there. You want to come up for a picture? She's coming up for a picture. You got to take it again, guys.
Just
Sort
don't
of
let him
There you
stand
go.
by me, because he
One more
always
picture.
looks in
This
my
would be in the
Amen that
historical
he's
society.
here and healthy.
How are you?
One more picture. He's come up.
Yes, right in front of,
He messed it all up.
right in front of her. There you go. Right
Right.
there. See?
Who's here?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
very welcome.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Lynn, thank you.
Congratulations.
You're welcome.
Oh, we have one more.
Maureen, all right, we have a representative of the Christina Rena Foundation here. Come on up. Somebody want to do this? You want to do this one? You don't have to read it, this John can't say this. Come on up, guys.
What do you got there?
Gold shoelaces.
Yes.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
Hey, I tried to do this.
Thank you.
Hey, it's doing it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ben. Thank you. So, John, you're going to read a few words from the proclamation. Guys, can we have your attention? Thank you.
Okay, September is Children's Cancer Awareness Month. And because of that, the town board is issuing a proclamation, whereas it is both fitting and proper that the town board and all citizens of Town River join Christina Rena Foundation Incorporated to raise awareness of children's cancer. And whereas the Christina Rena Foundation Incorporated is dedicated to supporting childhood cancer research and furthering awareness and education through the support of cancer groups and outreach programs for direct support of those in need. The town board would like everybody to join us in supporting Children's Cancer Month in the town of Riverhead. We want to thank you guys for your job that you do.
And the gold ribbons outside on the poles.
Yes, that's right.
Dermans, we got them all.
And all the success in the world, and raise a lot of money. Okay? Thank you.
You guys want to say something?
Yeah, we brought in some gold ribbons. We give these out to all the sports teams across Long Island. So a lot of the high school teams get them and wear them in honor of cancer, pediatric cancer. Also, all the funds we raise go to Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory. They're right here on the North Shore, actually a little further out from us in here. But they're doing really cool research. They're using CRISPR. If anybody's read a little bit about CRISPR, it's a new tool that they're using. It's a genetic tool, and they're looking for drug targets that could possibly help a lot of these children. So we're working very hard at that, and we appreciate everything you guys do. So thank you so much. So these are free for anybody to please take and share, and we'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Do we have to scoot in? That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Good in. Where are you going? Good in.
Just raise.
Yay. Thank you very much for the job that you guys do. Thank you.
I'll put these on my board.
Please, thank you. Thank you so much. Say bye-bye. Say bye.
Grab it.
Bye-bye, young lady.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you again.
Are you kidding? No, you guys do a lot of travel.
Huh?
Yes, we will resume our seats, so Harriet. So Harriet,
You know, if you see something,
Labor Day passed.
you really have to feel sorry for them. When they get this. They are. That's right. Okay,
Thank
I'm gonna take two, all right?
You can take whatever you need.
Okay.
No,
Thank you.
only one, which paper?
So Harriet, you're here to bless us with a song about Labor Day, right?
Yeah, I just want to say you gave a proclamation to somebody working in the water district. I wish they could come to my place and help with the water. Had a problem with the water today. Well, anyway, where'd Warren go? Oh, there he is.
He's right there, he's,
Okay, so this is just for fun for Labor Day, just for fun. Tumble out of bed and stumble to the kitchen, pour myself a cup of ambition, yawn and stretch and try to come to life. Jump in the shower and the blood starts pumping, out on the street the traffic starts jumping for folks like me on the job from 9 to 5. Working 9 to 5, what a way to make a living, barely getting by. There's no taking and no giving, they just use your mind and they never give you credit. It's enough to drive you crazy if you let it. 9 to 5 for service and devotion. You would think that I would deserve a bad promotion, want to move ahead, but the boss won't seem to let me. I swear sometimes that man is out to get me. They let you dream just to watch him shatter. You're just a step on the boss man's ladder, but you got dreams he'll never take away. He'll never take the dreams away. You're in the same boat with a lot of your friends, waiting for the day your ship will come in. The tide's gonna turn and it's gonna roll your way. Working 9 to 5, what a way to make a living, barely getting by. It's all taken and no giving, they just use your mind and you never get the credit. It's enough to drive you crazy if you let it. 9 to 5, yeah, they got you where they want you. There's a better life, and you think about it, don't you? When you spend your life putting money in his wallet. 9 to 5, whoa, what a way to make a living, barely getting by. It's so taken and no given, they just use your mind and they never give you credit. It's enough to drive you crazy if you let it. 9 to 5, yeah, they got you where they want you. There's a better life, and you dream about it, don't you? It's a rich man's game, no matter what they call it, and you spend your life putting money in their pocket. 9 to 5, whoa!
Harriet, thank you very, very much. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
We're gonna dug out.
Lauren, thank you very much.
job.
And I think that went out to Lynn Barakis, so thank you, Harriet. All right,
I wanna,
it's like a variety show here, John.
I wanna make a motion that we approve the meeting, the minutes of the meeting of August 15th, 2017. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
The minutes are approved. Let's see, under correspondence, we had a letter from Eve and Chris Kaplan Walbrecht outlining alternative options for issues and concerns arising from the opposing views on the legislation banning short-term rentals. There was a letter from Craig from Calverton detailing his comments expressed at a town board meeting regarding the sale of the EPCAL property. we had many letters, 131 as of yesterday, but there are more, in response to the site plan application of the Suffolk Theater to erect a fencing and maintain a temporary trailer on the property behind Suffolk Theater. Under applications, there's an application from Fredette Svensson, and that is a petition for connection to the sewer district at 89 Peconic Avenue in Riverside, and that's formerly known as Peconic Cadler.
Hold on a second. Diane, Mike, did you get that? I did give that to you, correct? Good, thank you.
Under reports, the building department submitted their August 2017 monthly report at $106,793.25. Town clerk August monthly report was $11,856.28, and that's it.
Any other town, Jill? Any other town board reports?
No, I just want to make a comment on the Friday night entertainment that we had at Grangeville Park. And I want to thank Councilman Wooten, who arranged for all that entertainment, got all the money to support it with donations, and was there every Friday night.
So are you.
So was I. It was a great, what entertainment they had down there. Everybody from the town of Riverhead next year, every Friday night in the summertime at 7 o'clock until 8:30, 8:45, there's entertainment. And I'll tell you what, Councilman Wooten does a great job.
It was
Thank
fun.
you.
It was fun.
Good job.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Jim. Thank you, Jim. All right, any other reports? Not hearing any. Let's start our first public hearing. The first public hearing was scheduled for 2:05 p.m. It is now 2:17. This is a consideration of a proposed local law to amend Chapter 289 entitled Vehicles and Traffic and Parking Regulations of the Riverhead Town Code, parking, standing, stopping, and
Kind of, Road.
this is the, right, parking prohibited on Meeting House Creek Road, the west side from its intersection with Peconic Bay Boulevard to a point 80 feet north. I think we finally got the number worked out. Bob, do I have to say anything else?
Well, no, this is, I think, the third time we're gonna try this. I think we attempted it.
Alex, did we get it right?
In 2016.
Alex says we got it right.
17. and
We're
then-
shortening the no parking on the west side
Correct.
because right after the parking lot where it's empty, a fence starts. And people are parking off the road and against the fence. So really, we don't need any, no parking there because they are off the road. And it's not creating a traffic hazard. So we're shortening up from 300 to 80 feet.
Third time's a charm.
Yes.
Does anybody wish to be heard on this subject? Alex, do you want to? No? Okay. Then I will close the public comment portion and leave it open for written comment to the 15th of September, 4:30 in the town clerk's office. Moving right along. The second public hearing was scheduled for 2:10. This is the consideration of a petition to construct a lateral water main extension to provide water service to the proposed mixed-use development of Riverview Lofts to be located at 221 East Main Street, Riverhead. Who do we have from the Water District? Mr. Collins? Tom's there for moral support.
Yeah. Hello, good afternoon, Board. John Collins with H2M, just here to give you a little information on the extension. The property in question, Riverview Lofts, is fully already in the Water District. What the district is proposing is to extend the water main in the parking area by Riverfront Park to extend it to McDermott Street to complete a loop and improve fire flow for the proposed development there. All costs will be absorbed by the owner with none to the town. Estimated cost is $375,000, and estimated key money fees are $360,000.
We like water key money. Okay, does anybody wish to be heard on this subject?
I do want to point out one thing that was brought to my attention, that the resolution 116.
116, okay. I
So
don't think
just so
that's,
that's clarified.
okay, I don't
Right.
think that's fatal to that. All right, sir, do you wish to be heard on this public hearing?
I do.
Okay, if you could step up, Mr. Collins, just take notes in case. How you doing, sir? If you could state your name and affiliation for the record? or
Yes,
family.
my name is Ian Lyons. I'm a Riverhead resident, small business owner, and interim chair of the newly formed Riverhead Business and Citizens for Sustainable Development. Our mission, for those of you who don't know, is to promote oversight, accountability, transparency, diversity, sustainability, and ethics to public policy. I'm happy to announce that since our last communication, which came in the form of a letter of opposition to Mr. Gallo's project, that we have added 2 new additions to our board, the first being Ms. LaToya James of the James Firm, who has had a very distinguished career in the district attorney's office. Her offices are here in Riverhead now as a public defender. We also have added Ms. Priscilla Lingard, the executive director, as well as a clinical social worker and psychotherapist at the Center for Legal and Social Empowerment, which you may or may not know is now also located in Riverhead. Ms. James asked that I state on her behalf that she believes that oversight, accountability, and transparency are essential for government at all levels, as well as industrial development agencies. And as counsel to the Riverhead Business and Citizens for Sustainable Development, I will help the organization to ensure that public servants serve public interest. Ms. Lingard asked that I state that she believes our organization serves as an extension of both the mission and vision of my agency. My role will be community empowerment, advocacy, as well as social justice issues. I believe Riverhead elected and appointed officials, as well as employees, contractors, and vendors, should be an accurate reflection of the community's racial and ethnic demographics. I will have particular focus upon issues of inclusivity and diversity, states Ms. Lingard, as well as voter participation.
What is this got to be public hearing?
If you could get to the public hearing about
Yeah,
water
so
main
I'm
extension.
imploring all of you to carry out a truly independent environmental impact study, not one financed and,
This is
listen,
on a water main.
please hear me, I'm getting to the water matter. So I'm asking, and related to the water matter, sir, that the environmental impact study be done by a third party, not financed and incorporated into your environmental impact statement, which was financed by Mr. Gallo himself. By doing so, you open yourself to issues regarding water, drainage, etc., and welcome Article 78 lawsuits under SECRA, as well as opening oversight from county, state, and federal authorities to continuously intervene and potentially interrupt the development as proposed. So we applaud Mr. Hubbard for being the sole voice of reason so far on this board on the matter of this gentleman's development. Our organization is nonpartisan, Mr. Hubbard, but we actively promote and endorse candidates who share our mission, ethics, and values. So I thank you for your sound public policy in the past. And I again urge you, sir, to delay this vote until the proper environmental impact study affecting the water district is carried out. And just to conclude, to let you know, Ms. Giglio, we are grateful to you that you have followed the advice of the Ethics Committee and abstained from such vital votes. This is certainly a step in the right direction. However, the only appropriate step would be to step down. This is baffling that you have had to consult with an ethics committee at all.
Mr. Lyons,
Given
Mr. Lyons, you are going way afield of a.
I am now
extension of
wrapping
the
it
wa-
up, sir.
Wrap it up to the
Being that
water
there are
district.
no other community members
Thank
who
you.
want to discuss this issue, let me speak for the community.
On the issue of the water main, sir.
Correct. So it's baffling that you would have to consult with an ethics committee at all. So I would imagine that your vote today will also be an abstention, given your financial entanglements with town policy. Mr. Wooten,
Mr. Lyon, there's not going to be a vote today on the water main.
good.
Thank you.
Mr. Wooten, I'm going to refrain from asking your input on anything at all.
Because I'm not gonna give it to you.
Well, you have in the past. You've likened parking and other public policy matters as like a chicken and the egg. That is a direct quote, sir. And I can assure you that public policy and chicken and an egg are is pretty much the furthest analogy you could possibly make.
In your opinion.
Mr.
Public
Lyon,
policy
Mr. Lyon,
is
Mr. Lyon, can
proactive.
you put-
Public policy is
Your
not
opinion.
reactive.
Your opinion.
Mr. Wooten, we will discuss this further when we discuss IDA tax abatement
Takes
Monday.
two to discuss.
Thank you, sir. Does anybody else wish to be heard on this particular public hearing? If not, I'll close the public hearing. I'll leave it open for written comment to September 15th. Thank you. The third public hearing was scheduled for 2:15. And it is now 2:27. And this is the consideration of a proposed local law to amend Chapter 301 entitled Zoning and Land Development of the Riverhead Town Code, Downtown Center 1, Main Street, DC1 Zoning Use District, Section 301, 143, Supplementary Guidelines, subsection C, storefronts and facade standards. And this requires that storefront facades of buildings, structures shall be maintained in a way that does not provide evidence of vacancy. The interiors, when visible to passers-by through storefront windows, shall be maintained in a way that does not exhibit evidence of vacancy, and any storage within the building or structure shall be concealed by means of a storefront window, decoration, displays, spray painting or frosting of windows is not acceptable, and a property owner has to abide by this to make sure the storefronts do not look vacant. And this was actually first worked on by Councilman Giglio, and then the bid and the town attorney, and now we've got something that seems to be workable. Does anybody wish to be heard on this public hearing? Okay, not seeing anybody. We'll close the public comment portion, leave it open until September 15th, 4:30 in the town clerk's office. Moving right along, the fourth public hearing was scheduled for 2:20, and it is now 2:29. And this is the consideration of a petition to construct improvements to a lateral sewer main at the Riverhead Sewer District to Freeze Pump Station and dedicate a 20-foot easement to the Riverhead Sewer District to provide sewer service to the proposed project known as Riverview Lofts to be located on 221 East Main Street, Riverhead, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 0600-129-1, lots 21 and lots 22. Mr. Reichel, you wish to let us know what's going on here and present for the sewer district.
Today we have Steve Earl from H2M.
How you doing, sir? You can present right from there.
Hi, Steve Earl with H2M Architects and Engineers. Michael's setting up a display. This project is going to entail making 5 lateral connections to existing sewers, but as part of the improvements, as part of the project, we're also going to be installing a parallel sewer underneath the property, or parallel to the sewer, because it's underneath the building that's going to be constructed. So we want to make sure that in the future, if and when you need additional capacity for the wastewater to get through that parcel, there's going to be an extra pipe there to allow that to happen. And as also part of the project, one of the pumps at the DeFreeze pump station is going to get replaced.
Wonderful.
And all
Sounds
the
like a
costs are
good project.
borne by the developer.
That's the important part. All right, stand by. Does anybody wish to be heard on this particular public hearing? Yes, if you could approach and state your name or affiliation for the record.
Good afternoon, members of the board. My name is Carolyn Zank. I'm a former councilwoman of the town of Southampton. I'm an attorney from Hampton Bays, 143 West Montauk Highway, Hampton Bays. Let me begin by first thanking you for your public service, because I've been on a board myself for 4 years, and I know how hard it is and difficult it is to balance environment, social considerations, and economic, and I know sometimes you take a little bit of a beating up there, so you have my sympathy on that.
Thank you.
Welcome. I'm here to talk about the sewer service extension, but of course it's related to the broader project of the Riverhead Loft project. And it's my opinion as council that one can't segment the review under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, and that is such an important thing, connecting that pipe, because as we know, there's going to be over 116 apartments, and that's a lot of wastewater. And as we also know, the bays have been blooming in a brown tide, and we all love the fishing and the crabbing and what we get out of the bays. So certainly, there's a potential for a significant environmental impact statement, which brings me to my point. As by way of background, again, I've been practicing law for 25 years. I'm a councilwoman in the town of Southampton. I was a former general counsel with the group for the East End for 10 years. That's a leading environmental group out here. And former county executive Steve Levy chose me. I was lucky enough to be chosen as the chairperson of the East End Issues, Environment, and Energy Committee out of all the residents in Suffolk County. I represent the owner of the Dark Horse Restaurant, Dee Muma, who sits by my side.
Welcome, Dee.
And we do see that on the agenda today there is a resolution number 687, and that's to approve the final site plan for the Riverhead Lofts project at 221 East Main Street. We're asking you not to go forward with that, and I think there's only pluses for the board and no negatives on so many fronts, both politically and legal and financially. I'm going to get into that a little bit. This is a very large project. We're not taking a position per se at this time. We're only saying we think that there should be adequate environmental review. We know you started out with a positive declaration, as I understand, then it went to a negative declaration, but there's a lot of great things to be gained through the State Environmental Quality Review Act. I'd like to commend the board. I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to extend workhouse housing to Riverhead residents. You're trying to get some affordable housing for locals, affordable housing for the poor, revitalize the businesses in downtown Riverhead, and maybe make Main Street safer and more livable. This is a huge project. I've seen the diagrams for it. It's going to take up a whole block. It's 5 stories tall. It's 116 units. It's going to need a lot of parking spaces. When I went down to the building department to take a look at things, someone said, "Well, yeah, that's the biggest project in Riverhead's
Can you tie
history."
this to the sewer main?
Yes,
hearing?
sir, I am.
Okay, thank you.
Because it's a segmented review, which is illegal under SECRA, I can talk about the entire project, because SECRA prohibits me from looking at things in isolation. So because the sewer main is tied to the project, obviously, I have to talk about the whole project, just as SECRA itself requires.
You understand that the impact statement does talk about this sewer main?
It's possible, sir. I appreciate that. The first thing I'd like to say, and I echo the comments of the fellow who spoke earlier. I mean, these are the business people downtown. They know a lot about business, and it's good to hear from them. It's good to hear from them politically, and also they have a lot of know-how. The first problem that I think you have legally with these proceedings in the past is inadequate notice. I'll give you an example even today. I called Town Hall yesterday because I looked at the website to see if this was on. It wasn't on the website, neither the agenda or the resolution. I called down midday, and they said, that's not on yet, but we'll put it on by 4:30. I said, 4:30, that doesn't give the residents any time. So it wasn't on the website.
This public hearing was posted publicly in the News Review and Riverhead Local as required by law.
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up, Mr. Supervisor. I've looked at those notices carefully. If you'll go to the front of the building, you'll notice that it simply names the project, which is, this Riverhead Lofts, but it doesn't tell the residents 116 apartments, how tall it is, that it's going to be a major hookup to the sewage treatment plant, that there's 30 years of tax deferment that really could impact everybody's taxes. There's no detail. And I've looked at the case law on it, and residents are required to know something about the project. When you see, it's just Riverhead Lofts, and you don't know what it is, I believe that is not legal as a matter of law. And just from a political perspective again, why not hear from people? It always looks good. I know as a councilwoman, the president always said to me, Carolyn Zank, I didn't always agree with you, but you listened.
But this is the third public hearing we've had on this particular subject.
Well, obviously, if someone advertises and a project is much more detailed, people might come down if the notice is adequate. So on the posting of the building, I just ask the board to look at themselves, go down and look at the front of the building where this is proposed, and you will see it does not explain the project in any detail, what the residents deserve. Again, very large project. Seeker law requires one significant environmental impact statement. As you know, the brown tide is blooming in our bays. These are 116 people with 116 septic systems, bringing you back to the hearing.
Do you know who owns the most sophisticated wastewater treatment plant in New York State at this time?
I don't, sir.
Town of Riverhead.
Uh,
The most sophisticated in
okay.
New York State. We are the only municipality in New York State that actually treats its wastewater through a biomembrane filtration. That's not the significant part, but then we irrigate the Indian Island Golf Course with it. That's not done. We have the most sophisticated plant in the state.
That may be, sir, and I commend you if you do.
We do.
But I would point out, as the old saying goes, the proof is in the pudding. And what is the pudding these days? The bays are blooming with a brown tide. They're now blooming with a red tide, and there's been massive fish kills in Hampton Bays and other places. So we already know that there are big problems in the bays. We know this is 116, people at least, or double. So I believe it, and the trigger, by the way, for seeker is may have a significant impact on the environment, one item. So given that the building department is telling me this is the biggest project ever, 116 apartments, only 55 parking spaces when you need at least, obviously, 116. I believe it's 116 times 1.5. I believe you've triggered the low threshold, which is what the case law says, for seeker to require an environmental impact statement.
If you could kind of tie this back into the sewer line hookup, that would be
Yes,
fantastic.
again, SECRA is very clear. You cannot segment your environmental review, either with the water main hearing
Do
tonight.
you want a copy of the secret document? Because I could give it to you and you could read it.
I've already read, sir.
Okay, well then
Yes.
this is part of that document.
Pardon?
This is part of that document. This was discussed in secret.
Okay. Well, discussed in SECRA is interesting because SECRA is also a literal compliance law, and it requires that you go through the proper channels, which includes the hearing. I just think a negative declaration was probably inappropriate, not a good idea, and I believe it's illegal as a matter of law. When you couple that with the notice, and I'll ask you to consult with your counsel to take a look at the law on notice and the notice that was issued, and counsel, I believe, will have to agree that the notice is inadequate, so I think this will be bumped back on a 78, if one should occur. Let me just,
Well, if I could stop you just for a second
Yes.
on the notice issue, because it's my understanding that what was noticed on our town website, as well as in the newspaper, as well as in the town clerk's office, is a two-page document, which was a copy of a resolution which was 634, which was adopted on August 15th and authorized the publishing and posting. And that was a two-page document which described the project as a mixed-use development, 5-story mixed-use building with commercial space on the ground floor and 118 apartment units on floors 2 through 5, with an estimated wastewater flow of 40,272.87 gallons. So it was a two-page document. And that would have been available if you went to the link that talks about public hearings. It's in that link. So it was on the town website as or about August 24th, at the very least.
Well, I appreciate that input. I will point out, as you know, Council, there are several requirements for notice. One is that there be a certified mailing to nearby owners. Another is that it be published in the paper. A third is that the building be posted. All of those technical requirements have to be met. I only invite council to go out to the building. I got a picture of it. There's 2 postings, and they're radically inadequate. I don't have to win on all 3, sir. I only win on 1,
All right.
and that one's inadequate.
If you could wrap this up to the sewer.
Yes, as I said, it's related because it's a segmented review, which is
Well,
illegal.
okay. You've
Yes,
said
let
that
me-
multiple times.
I did, sir. Let me wrap it up. Of course, it's harder when people are asking questions, but that's okay. I'm good. I think if you remand this and you hear from Main Street, I mean, Dee Muma owns a Dark Horse restaurant. She's been there for years and years. Her husband owned Tweeds. It's interesting that one of the major ideas here is to revitalize the business district, as I understand. Who knows the business district better than the owners who are down there who are trying to make a living? Who has the biggest vested interest in making sure Main Street is revitalized and survives. It's these people. Who are the people who support you in your campaigns? The business people of the community. Who, as a political matter, do you want to look good in front of? Certainly you don't want to be shutting me down today. You have a lot of business owners here today who just want something really simple, just like I'm sure you have a wife, sir, and the women want to be heard from their husbands. People want to be heard. They want to be heard. You have all the power at the end of the day. The power is yours. I salute you. You're in. I respect you very much.
The power's God's.
God's and from God's mouth to my ears, it's put in you for the time being on behalf of the public. I don't believe it can hurt, and I certainly believe it can help to hear from business owners, environmentalists, civics groups, do the full-blown secret procedures. What could you get out of that? Let me tell you what you can get. You have 55 parking spaces. Seeker would allow you to make sure you have adequate parking. So you can get the 116 times 1.5 that I believe
Can you please
that you need.
tie it into the sewer? This is a public hearing on a lateral sewer main extension, not parking.
Which should be part of the seeker process, sir. And so I must talk about seeker because it's segmented, which is illegal.
It's
you know.
in the document, Ms. Zank.
Okay. Let me continue with what else you could get to wrap it up.
Okay.
Okay. It's clear you want a mix of housing downtown that does a few things for you. You want a mix that you have a clientele that actually visits the businesses. You want a mix that doesn't bring in crime or blight. You want a proper proportion of affordable to market rate to make sure you get the goals that you need. I don't know if you have that. You have other concerns. Again, I just need one, sir. It can be an economic impact. I can tell you this. I understand there's a 30-year deferment for taxes in the school district for this project. Please, I know that the school is going to differ or should differ if they are being rational.
This doesn't have anything to do with the sewer. Please, Ms. Zank.
It's part of the project again.
Please,
All I'm
Ms.
saying is maybe you want to ask a few questions. Do you need a 30-year tax abatement? Is the mix of housing correct to get you what you want? Can the sewage treatment plant really handle all the sewage? So you
That's
still-
the question. Can the sewage
Can the
treatment
sewage
plant...
treatment plant
Can
handle?
they handle the sewage, Michael? Yes, sir. There you go. Carolyn, you brought it home.
Well,
Are
I
you
could
finished?
say out of the blue.
You brought it home.
No,
He
sir.
answered the question. He
Well,
can
I-
handle the sewage. Can
I
we
don't know
wrap
what his
it up?
credentialing is. I don't know if there's a second check, and I know that the bays are deteriorating. One moment, sir. May I add just a final economic caveat? I've seen your record. I did a FOIL. The town board record is like this. The building and planning records like this on this site plan review. I know that record. That's at least $100,000 to put that suit together just to prepare the return. It's big. Why bother and waste the taxpayers' money? I don't think you have anything to lose. I think you have everything to win. I think you'll look good politically. I think you'll do the right thing. The notice is not adequate. It is a segmented review. I believe it's all illegal. And I wanted to give you the courtesy of coming down and talking about it, rather
Thank
than
you.
just doing it on papers in a 78, which costs
Okay.
my client a lot of money and costs you a lot of money.
All right, thank you. Does anybody else wish to be heard on this subject?
And to close, sir, I want to thank you again for serving. I know you weren't entirely polite to me today, but you are the supervisor of this town, and I respect you, and I respect your office.
I wasn't polite?
And in my heart, I hope you'll do the right thing.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Lyons, please, folks, please.
Mr. Walter, my counsel for our organization concurs. The word I believe you used was segmented. The word in which she referred to was compartmentalized, and no compartmentalization may be allowed under SECRA. So therefore, all of her concerns were valid. And any related issue, any issue that may affect the SECRA process, even though you have compartmentalized and segmented these various hearings, that is not in accordance with the law, you must continue to hear related matters. I'm sorry, your interpretation is very much in line with Mr. Gallo's interpretation. You have green-lighted this process throughout. You know, bragging about the having the greatest sewer system in the state is commendable. That's terrific. However, the the environment is demonstrating something very, very different, as the good lady has also pointed out. The idea that Mr. Gallo's environmental impact statement is the basis
Have you
of
read it?
decision
Sir,
making.
have you read it?
Yes, sir, I have.
Okay, thank you.
Is the basis for any public policy coming from this board without an outside environmental impact study is unacceptable to the taxpayer. Unacceptable. If there was proper notice, like the lady before me so eloquently stated, there would be more than 2 of us here before you today talking about this issue. So one can only hope that IDA will be better represented by the public on this matter. She has a very interesting point about the schools, former New York State United teachers, attorneys, as well as representatives, as well as the PTA, as well as multiple people who are educators and administrators in the community have very serious concerns about that as well. I am going to use an analogy that was used by Mr. Wooten to describe public policy. The chicken and the egg. Right now, what you are doing by allowing Mr. Gallo to present his findings as the primary findings, you are ignoring SECRA. You are deferring to his study financed by his corporation. Chicken and egg, Mr. Wooten. This is fox in the henhouse.
Thank you, Mr. Lyons.
You are welcome.
Does anybody else wish to be heard on this matter? Mr. Gilmartin.
Good afternoon. For the developer Georgia Green Ventures, David Gilmartin. I know your first question. The answer to that is to the extent that the previous 2 speakers' comments were related to the sewer, then so are mine. And I'd like to bring a little rationality back to this hearing and understand where this starts. This is a site plan application. This is an as-of-right development that must be understood by anybody who is doing a review of this project. The only reason we need a special permit is because we have lot coverage issues, because we are providing additional parking. We are not required to provide any parking. We're in a parking district.
But we're on the sewer hearing, so if you
I
could
understand,
just-
but to the
I
extent the
know. I get it.
comments were
I get it.
made,
I
right, and
understand.
I'm gonna respond to him. Mr. Lyons can please be quiet. I was quiet for his
understand,
presentation. Notice was proper. We went through the full SECRA process, which, from our point of view, wasn't required. Again, an as-of-right development, and we were required, you type 1'd us, and we went through the entire SECRA process, which we think was overreaching on the part of the town. You cannot make that argument legally, so we went through the process, and we went through the full process. Again, as-of-right development. There's been some veiled threats this afternoon, and maybe some not-so-veiled threats that somebody's going to bring in Article 78. I want those people to fully understand that when they do that, they may jeopardize funding that the developer has received from governmental entities. And our remedies, if somebody interferes with that process, will be to look for those damages if we lose those expenses. The second thing I would say is if you choose to bring in Article 78, you're going to be required to put up a bond, and that bond is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $50 million, and you better be right.
All right, can we
Thank
tie
you.
it back in? Thank you. Does anybody else wish to be heard on the sewer, lateral sewer main extension? Yes, miss.
I'm not quite sure.
If you could just state your name and affiliation, or
Sure.
hamlet for the record.
My name is Vanessa Trouble. I keep a boat in Riverhead, on the river, obviously. And a big sewer, no matter how great our sewer system is here, it's not really the greatest thing when you really think about it. It's poop. We're talking poop here. And for people who
At
live...
least she's on the subject.
For people who live, work, own businesses on that river, at the end of the day, if there's a catastrophe, think Houston, think any catastrophe, flooding, disgusting poop.
I invite you to come down to our sewage treatment plant and get a tour. You will be
Love to.
so
Where is it? Where is this
impressed.
place? Where is it?
You can speak to Michael Reichel, Michael, raise your hand.
Where,
Right
where
there.
exactly is it? I'm curious.
It's off Riverside
Right down,
Off of Riverside Drive?
Drive, yes.
right down the boat.
Yes, it's River Road, right?
River Road and Riverside Drive are different.
No.
Where is it?
River Avenue.
River Avenue, River Road, or Riverside Drive? I never knew it was there. Kudos to you. But is it
That's
River
right.
Road, Riverside Drive, or River Avenue? Thank you very much. My whole point is, I think that this structure that's going up, I didn't know what it was. All I saw right now are these cute little things, little things coming out.
That's
I
a
didn't know
different
it was gonna
project.
be 5 stories.
That's a different project, miss.
That's big too, but hey, any big projects down on the riverfront, think about it. Please, thank you. Thank you.
All right, does anybody else wish to be heard on the matter? If not, Ms. Eck, you came, you're good. They're good. Does anybody else wish to be heard on the matter? All right, you can make written comments. I'm going to close the public comment.
Point of law, though, sir, I understand you can get up on a point of law since there's 3 very bad inaccuracies on the record.
I'm going to leave it open for written comment till
Sir,
the
you give me
15th.
1 minute only, I'll tell you.
1 minute. Ms. Zank, 1 minute as professional
1 minute.
courtesy, 1 minute.
You are dull. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. In response, just quickly, council has stated that there is an as of right, as though you can go ahead as of right. There's no such thing. As soon as it's subject to seeker, the board has a tremendous amount of power, so that is a misstatement. He has stated that you've gone through the seeker process. As you know, there's a negative declaration. Yes, there's an impact statement prepared, but it hasn't gone through the coordinated review and the elaborate procedures, including a seeker hearing, so that is inaccurate. In terms of being just allowed, we've done more with parking than we could. Seeker says you can identify the area of environmental concern, the council will know this, take a hard look at it, and mitigate it. Parking is an area of environmental concern. Seeker would give you the right to do that. That is inaccurate. And in closing, I'd like to say, Mr. Gilmartin used to work for me when I was a councilwoman, and I kept him on as our counsel. And I'm very...
I'm sure he was very happy, but we don't
well,
want to get
I'm
into that.
embarrassed today that he would threaten the democratic process and the good citizens of this town, and myself as a former councilwoman,
Thank you,
with
Ms.
litigation and to shut down our rights and to threaten with a multi-million-dollar development to shut these people down.
Thank you, Ms.
That, sir, is a disgrace.
All right. I'm going to close the public comment portion of the hearing, leave it open for written comments till September 15th, 4:30 in the town clerk's office. Thank you for that very illustrative public hearing. We have one more public hearing, and this is why I think a lot of people are here. And this is a public hearing scheduled for 2:25. It is now 2:53. For the consideration of a site plan application from Suffolk Theater to establish and erect fencing and maintain a temporary trailer used as an accessory structure on the real property located at 118 East Main Street, Riverhead, New York, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 0600-129-1-8.4, and part of the Riverhead Parking District Number 1, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 0600-128-6, Lot 66.4. Do we have somebody from the town that's going to just present this very briefly? Mr. Gregg. Jeff, don't look so concerned. You'll be fine.
All right. My name is Greg Bergman. I'm a planning aide for the town of Riverhead. I will briefly describe the project. The applicant is proposing to erect a 8-foot stockade fence behind the subject parcel, which is the Suffolk County Theater. He will erect an 8-foot fence around the parcel that he owns, and there is an easement property behind his portion of land that he owns, which was granted to him by the parking district, around which he will construct a 4-foot split rail fence. Inside the stockade fence, behind the building, he will put a temporary trailer to be used as a green room for the actors of his theater. It will have water and electrical connections, and it will use a temporary holding system for the septic.
All right, thank you, Mr. Bergman. Does anybody from the anybody representing the applicant? again, if you could state your full name and affiliation for the record, sir.
I'm Daniel Binderman. I'm the General and Artistic Director of the Suffolk Theater.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir. We need space for these acts. We need a trailer that will be used as a green room. It's not a luxury, it's a necessity. For many of the acts that we work with on the road, this area, firstly, many of these acts bring in huge tour buses. They bring in trailers of gear. They bring in a lot. They also bring in a lot of business to us, but also to the restaurants in the community, to our neighbors, to people who have written. I have 70 letters here almost from people who've written from all over the county, and I think we got one from Alaska, where people were basically saying they love coming to Riverhead. They love coming here and experiencing what this theater has to offer. I would like to, with a little leeway, remind everybody that in 2003, when the Castaldis opened this theater, it was not a popular idea.
Bought it, you mean?
What's that?
Not 2003 when they opened it.
When they first invested.
Right.
It was actually thought of as a somewhat not great idea. I know this because even by 2013, when I got here, people were still saying, what a crazy idea, and how would we ever get acts of this caliber here? How would we ever get audiences to Riverhead? How would it work? It seemed impossible. I know I was laughed at a little bit, and I can't imagine what Bob and Diane went through. The Castaldis invested a small fortune in this theater as a labor of love for this town and partially for the crumbling, beautiful building that was, at the time they invested, mold infested, and you can actually see where the walls were rebuilt on the side of the building. There's a layer of brick that denotes where the walls were rebuilt. They loved the building. They loved the idea that this building would spark something in Riverhead. Given this extraordinary facility, my staff and I have worked tirelessly to make their vision come about. We fought to get the type of acts to the area that we'd be proud of. Grammy legends, platinum-selling artists, nationally known comedians, Kennedy Center honorees, everybody from Mavis Staples, Judy Collins, Arlo Guthrie, to Gilbert Gottfried.
I was upset that I missed Arlo Guthrie and Alice's Restaurant.
I know, we discussed this
away.
previously. To Little Anthony, we've tried to get something for everybody. We want this theater to serve the community. We're doing what we can every day, and every day we're seeing good press on not only our theater, but on Riverhead. We're seeing press in News 12, we're seeing press in Suffolk Times, we're seeing press in Newsday. Every week there is good press on Riverhead because this theater exists.
Keep Riverhead shining. So.
There has been investment around the theater, stores, restaurants, apartments, just as there is in every great town with a performing arts center at its core. We have letters that cite this theater as lighting a spark to the reinvestment in downtown and to businesses coming back to downtown and to people coming back to downtown. We have many of these letters. Almost, I'd say half of them cited something about how this was crucial to the development of the community. To a degree, it's been working. To a degree, we've been getting the type of acts that we need. We've been getting the type of response that we need. And to a degree, we're still fighting. We've made enormous strides. And we're building a not-for-profit that is starting to hopefully get us some extra investment to make this all possible. It's not easy. This is an extraordinarily competitive field. We're fighting, but the Castaldis believed in the town. They proved it with their investments. They proved it with their dedication, their countless hours upon hours of work, and now we need the board's support. The Suffolk Theater and its catering partners employ production staff, audio engineers, lighting designers, wait staff, runners, bartenders, ushers, box office personnel, and so on. I'm not going to go through it. Probably 70 employees overall. And then add to it our winery partners, our security firm, our tech services, our liquor distributors, our accountants, our food distributors, and that list goes on as well. A green room is necessary to performances. Again, not only the trailers, not only the buses, this is home for acts that are on the road. A hospitable environment is home for these people. There are people who've been on the road for 7 months of the year, and they come to our town, and it reflects not only our theater, our ability to compete, it reflects how our town values these performers and our values. They need simple things when they come here. They need to be able to take a shower. They need to be able to eat a decent meal. They need to be able to sit down. Again, they have no home. They've been going on the road for 7 months, some of these people. They need to be able to do this. This is often where the acts live. In 2015, the Suffolk Theater was actually named by New York State as one of the premier architectural achievements of the year, right next to the Erie Canal restoration and the $95 million King's Theater restoration in Brooklyn. That's what this plan holds at its future. The Castaldis bought property, they bought land, they invested. And as many people as I can say told me I was crazy for taking on this challenge, you can multiply that exponentially. But they did, and their faith in the theater and the community in Riverhead should be rewarded. They are asking for your help. We had a chain link fence before. We are hoping to put up a better fence, a nicer fence, something that will be improved upon what currently exists. The site plan, the green room, is what we need to compete in a highly competitive market, and we need you to support our efforts. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Benedict. So, Mr. Pruzanowski, Vic Pruzanowski, for the record, what I'm going to do is you probably have support from the board. I know this is not the best situation, so we don't probably need everybody to come up and say, rah, rah, we love this. I could take a show of hands in the end. If you really want to talk, obviously we'll let you come up and speak.
The reason let me explain who I am since everybody's given their resume. I want to bring a little perspective here because remember, Sean, we're on television. And unlike the previous attorney, we get proper notice in this town because everybody reads Riverhead Local, the News Review, watches Channel 22. I'm Vic Pruzanowski, 533 Elton Street, Riverhead, New York. I was on the town board for 16 years. And part of that, about almost 20 years ago, I walked through that building when it was a complete wreck with former councilman Robert Pike, our building inspector, and somebody else from the town government. And at the time, there was a big push to buy this building. It was a complete wreck. So cut to short is the town board authorized $1.2 million. We purchased the building on behalf with cooperation of the business community. And we went through the long saga of trying to bring the building back to life and create what we really have today. The most important aspect of this job was we came to a threshold, and I think it was when Bob was supervisor, we put it up for a public referendum to do it the public way, using taxpayer money. The town overwhelmingly rejected that proposition. As Bob knows, he's shaking his head. So the town board then put this out for request for proposals, and sure enough, 2 people showed up, Bob and Diane Castaldi, among others, and they were selected to do this. This project was done with private funds. The minute they bought the property, it was put back on the tax rolls. It's been paying taxes all these years. Unlike Patchogue, unlike West Hampton, and some of these other things, this is a complete private enterprise operation. And the town actually got a lot of the money back that was initially invested. Not all of it, but almost quite a bit. In the meantime, he went on a saga of trying to opening up the building. I see Sharon Kloss was back there, and she was instrumental, too, in helping this. But it got stuck with a previous town board, which John Dunleavy wasn't his fault, but he happened to be on the town board back then. No, but I'm saying, and it got stuck, and Mr. Castaldi was going to give up. He was going to return it because he had a clause. He could return it back to the town, get his initial money back, probably have to sue the town for the extra cost of engineering and stuff. I picked up the telephone. I was at Van Dyke and Houston getting a tire change. I'll never forget the day. And I said, can we give it one more try to save this building, to save this project? We started re-entering in negotiations. It took a little bit longer because we had an election that year, and the town elected a new supervisor named Sean Walter and his staff. The minute they were sworn in, I got on the phone with Joe Lewis and the town board at the time, and within 35 to 40 days, we had the deal done. And every time I go into that theater, I'm so proud that we saved it.
Thank you.
So I'm here tonight to support this. I do want to say I do want to say one thing. I don't want to hear anybody saying about this easement, because I know exactly what the easement was for. This town has supported things on Main Street, which is owned by the New York State taxpayers, on that riverfront, which is owned partially by, I think, a parking district and by the general town. Functions which are supported by the general town taxpayers that help the businesses downtown. Okay, so I don't want to hear this thing, well, they shouldn't be with the, I know what the easement is for, and I know what he wants to do to augment his business plan. But we just had a Live on 25. Most of the times, I don't know about today, Sean, because I'm not on the town board, but for years we had the country fair. We could never get permission from New York State to close 20. We just closed it down and hoped that nobody would say anything. I don't know if that's still the case today. Maybe you actually do get permission to close 25 down. But that's the truth. But that's the truth, because they would not officially close it down. So we use public property all the time to support the local business. This project talked Bob into doing the electronic message center, which he did. It was a huge investment. I thought that started the rebirth of the heart started pumping on Main Street, where you saw that marquee, and it's a beautiful job. And I'll say this in closing. I've been to the Suffolk Theater dozens and dozens of times watching all these events, but I did miss Olive Guthrie. I wish I could.
That would have been great.
But the people that I talked to in there, they're amazed. They said, oh, it's a beautiful job. It was restored back to its grandeur. He knew how to do it because that was his business in Manhattan. So whatever the town board can do to support the Suffolk Theater, the last thing in the world we want is this thing to close. So I'm here to support the site plan, do whatever has to be done to get this thing, to keep it going, and keep the Renaissance going in town. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, Pat, before you start, so I want to show of hands how many people, a lot of people don't want to come up to speak, so I'm going to try to get you counted here, and some of you want to speak. So how many people want to, are here to support Suffolk Theater? Raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, about 20, 25 people. How many people want to speak? All right, so that's fine. And the rest of you, we counted 25 people, 20, 25 people in support of the theater. And the rest, you can start lining up after the next speaker so we can have you speak. If you could state your name and affiliation for the record.
Patricia Snyder, I'm the Executive Director at East End Arts. Across the street from the theater, I'm here on behalf of Suffolk Theater. I've had the pleasure of working downtown Riverhead since 1995. So I've seen it in all its stages, or many of its stages. And I'm really impressed that now, when I'm downtown on a weekend, there's people on the sidewalk, there's people on the boardwalk, and there's boats moored up on the river, which
Can you imagine?
even last year, that didn't happen. I mean, that's really pretty incredible. But I do want to point out that when a town begins to revitalize itself, it's typically because the arts are at the core of that revitalization. If you look at Patchogue, if you look at Westbury, Greenport, West Hampton Beach, they all have the arts at the core, and typically there's a performing arts center at the core. So whatever we can do to support the Suffolk Theater is really important. A couple numbers. The Americans for the Arts has done an economic impact study. That's a nationwide study. And looking at attendees at performing arts or cultural events, they typically, their formula is there's an average of $24.60 in addition to a ticket price that's paid by an attendee in the town. So when you look at an approximate 35,000 attendees at the Suffolk Theater over the course of a year, that's big money. And then if you're looking at the economic revitalization, you have to take that all into account. So I think it's an important piece to look at. And then you take the Americans for the Arts formulas. If you look at a theater that's typically the size of a Suffolk theater in the particular town, there's close to a $4 million economic impact over the course of a year. So we're looking at the revitalization. It's very important. And I'm just going to close by saying support for the arts is an investment in economic well-being as well as the quality of life. Whatever the town of Riverhead can do to support the efforts of Suffolk Theater, including approving the pending permit, is a step in the right direction for downtown Riverhead.
Thank you, Pat.
Thank you.
You got me clapping. You should.
Good afternoon. I'm the Reverend Dr. Sean Murray, and I am a Riverhead resident. I'm also the pastor of First Congregational Church, and we share the parking lot right there. We're like directly next door. We have long loved the theater there. Hats off to the Costaldis. They have done phenomenal work with that. Done a lot of good for our community. Love that. And until recently, with the parking lot situation, we had nothing but love and support. And now there's concerns. I don't want to speak against.
You could address the board.
I don't want to speak against. I want to speak for, but just let some concerns be known. I know they need green rooms that are there. That's great. And Mr. Castaldi, he was nice enough when this was just coming down to come into my office after the barricades came up, but to let me know what was going on, to assure me that we could still have access to our dumpsters. This is a concern for us. I'm a little concerned still about the location of the dumpsters in the site plan, because it probably will mean that with the big heavy bags of garbage from our soup kitchen will have to be carted farther than they are now. Now, right next door to that site, that's our fellowship hall. We are open every day of the week there. On Mondays, on Wednesdays, and Thursdays, we have 60, 80, and sometimes more guests come for dinner. This is at 5:30 every night. These people are poor. These people show up for the soup kitchen. In addition to that, I've got a lot of addicts, alcoholics, people who really don't need to have any alcohol in their face, and that's part of the concern about the site plan. Now, I just want Mr. Castaldi to be aware that we don't want to be the bad guys here. But if the site plan is just for an inside green room, great, no problem at all. But if there's talks, as there has been, that this could be an outdoor party space, then he'll have to get a license, a liquor license, that gives him permission for this outdoor service. And in order for that liquor license to go through, I, as a pastor, will have to bring the issue to my church for a congregational vote on the matter to extend permission. With the alcoholics who are meeting there, with the people who already have lots of trouble, who are lining up for their food during the week. I don't think I'm going to have an overwhelming support at all to grant a liquor license for the outside use of space. Now, I just want to make him aware of that. I think that that will be a hurdle down the way if that plan continues to be talked about. I'm also want to make sure, and I trust that now that that's been fixed, is that we do have an ample fire lane, that there is continued access for us, specifically for large food deliveries that come into our kitchen, for the volunteers who are showing up to set up for special events, access to a drop box that we have there for St. Vincent de Paul. I'd rather not have to give that drop box back. That's all on the side, right next to where this fence area is. To date, we've been sharing the same sanitation uses, and Mr. Cristaldi has been very gracious about that, finding out ways to work. But I just want to lift up the concerns of my community that are there for the use of this space, and also want to give him our thanks for all the good he's done. And perhaps when reevaluating this space and thinking about the green rooms, and if they get to be permanent, which I imagine they will after a trailer phase, could move to be more permanent, well, perhaps there's room for the greater good, for a little give back of the parking lot space, which causes a huge amount of trouble for us, that loss of parking space. At 10:15, that parking lot was full today, with school in session, the culinary arts, and with the gym going. It was already full. And on the days that I have, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, when I got a little shop going there that does a lot to help support our church, there's no parking for any customers. So maybe for the greater good, I'm hoping there can be some room for adjustment of the plan to give a little back as far as parking spaces. Concerns and hopes, and we love the theater here, and I think Riverhead needs it. We just want to work the kinks out. So, thank you.
Thank you, Pastor. Yes, if you could state your name and affiliation for the record.
My name is Lisa Ross. I'm an attorney at Essex Hefner, Angel, Tatalia, and Pasca. I'm just going to say EHA every time I say it, otherwise we're going to be here forever. I actually have a letter and some attachments I was going to refer to during the presentation.
If you want to hand them to the clerk, that would be wonderful. We'll make them part of the record.
I just have to make the statement in the beginning that EHA reserves its rights and by appearing today in opposition to this application, we're not giving up our prescriptive easement claim over the parking lot where the attorneys and the staff have been parking for more than 50 years. Now, I don't know how many people know the law firm, but it's been at its current location on East Main Street, like I said, for more than 50 years. Approximately 20 people work there in Riverhead, and we're the theater's adjoining neighbor to the west. We also have some other employees here that want to speak after me, but we did limit the number of people that would come, so we wouldn't overwhelm you with the stories that can be somewhat redundant. My first point, I think everybody feels that the theater is a valuable asset to the community, and that's not what my opposition has to do with.
You understand, though, if you didn't evict them, we might not be here today.
If they didn't evict us from the parking lot, then we wouldn't be here. That was the first thing that happened. We
But when I
lost.
came to try to, as the supervisor of the town, to try to settle something, your boss dug his heels in and created this untenable situation.
Well, but it started with the parking, and the parking is the problem. And the emails that were sent out.
But would you reevaluate, would your boss reevaluate the eviction of the green room? Because that in of itself might solve some of the problems.
We actually had a discussion and tried to work something out, but they're not willing to give us permanent parking. They want to keep that parking. So we can, we have a business too. I mean, I know the theater employs allegedly 70 people. Maybe we only employ 25. Maybe we don't bring as much business to downtown Riverhead. We've been there 50
Now,
years.
you have the $4 million, what was the economic, Pat Schneider, what was the economic benefit of a theater? How much? I doubt you have $4 million of economic benefit.
I
on
doubt
Main
that
Street.
too, but we're still
but the
a
issue-
long-established business in Riverhead.
You are, which is why I took the time to try to sit down and settle this. And I would love cooler heads to prevail, but you've put us in a situation, and, well, Mr. Angel put us in this untenable situation of putting this trailer here. And if Mr. Angel would roll back that eviction, we wouldn't be in this situation. So I'm putting that on the record.
Okay.
This is a self-created hardship by Essex, Hefter, and Angel in terms of the trailer, not the parking,
Okay,
the
I
trailer.
believe it's a self-created hardship on the part of the theater by closing off the parking lot without, by the way, not giving us any notice, not saying a word to us about it. We come to work after Memorial Day weekend and we can't park. We have no idea why. That's where it started. So
I don't disagree with your analysis, but two
I understand
people with very thick skulls can't seem to get along, and you put the board, both Mr. Angel and Mr. Castaldi put the board in this untenable situation, and I don't particularly care for it, and I know this board doesn't care for it. So,
Well, just to make it clear, we're not objecting to the green room or the temporary trailer. That isn't a problem for us. I mean, we do want it out of the fire lane, because that makes no sense. I mean, you have a fire lane, the point is it's supposed to be unobstructed. So dumpsters and parts of the trailer should not be in it. But we don't have an objection to the trailer. What we have the objection to is the fact that they've taken over that parking area. And, there's that whole easement. I really think this application needs to be bifurcated. And if there's an emergency because they need to get that green room and they're going to get the temporary trailer, let that part go forward. But the other part that has to do with the language of the easement, do they actually even have the ability to do this? To take an exclusive easement and turn it into basically fee ownership? They're basically taking the position that they own that property and they can put a fence up and keep everybody else out. I don't believe that that's what the terms of the easement were meant to do. So I really think the application needs to be split and let the one part go forward, which we're not objecting to, as I said. The green room, we're not objecting to. We understand the need for it. We understand where they're going to put it. We just don't want it in the fire lane. So, but our objection has to do, like I said, the parking. I mean, by the time you reconfigure that parking area, we're probably going to lose 25 spaces. And that's including 2 handicap spaces. That's a lot. I mean, there's 25 people in our office. I mean, that's basically our parking area disappearing. So time has to be spent on looking at that and talking to other departments about it within the town. And also the fence is a huge issue. I mean, why do they need an 8-foot stockade fence around a fire lane? I mean, it literally, when we would come out of our office, we come down probably 2 feet or 2.5 feet down. We're going to be looking up like a 10-foot fence. And then at one point, it narrows by the dumpster to not even 3 feet. So we're going to have like a 6-foot fence here, an 8-foot fence here, and security has been a big issue for us there. I mean, I'm not saying it's the people that come to the soup kitchen, but we do have issues with people lingering around. We've had to call the police multiple times. And this is going to be a dark little alleyway that we're going to have to walk through at night. And, we have the police that come and watch sometimes. They won't be able to even see us. So this is a big issue. And I don't see any reason for that 8-foot fence at all, except if you look at what people call spite fences. It's 4 feet here, it's 4 feet here, and right by us, it's 8 feet. So, that's another issue. And the reason I handed up the documents, I'm so sorry, I'm just kidding. Those are the 2 emails that went out. It's attached to that letter, the first 2 emails.
Right.
And I understand you got a lot of positive response back, But the emails basically didn't explain what the site plan was. It basically said, we need the green room, please help support us. And it said something about fencing, that's all it said. Of course you get a lot of positive comments. I mean, everybody wants the theater to be successful. But I don't think people understand that they're going to be losing a big chunk of public parking in the back. And that's why I think any of the emails you received, you have to look at in light of the fact that that's what people are saying. You know, yes, we want the theater, but they don't understand what they might stand to lose. They don't know anything about, unless they're following the paper, about the possible catering that they're trying to do back there, about the fact that it's going to be this ugly 8-foot stockade fence in a back public parking area. So I think you really need to look at those emails in that light. All right, I also, I attached a copy of the easement agreement in there. I don't know, you probably have seen it. But, yeah, but the language in it, it should be the Riverhead Parking District #1, right, who would give their consent. I don't see whether they were even consulted or whether they had any kind of feedback as far as throwing up that fencing. I know it's been considered to be illegal, and I also included a copy of the demand to remove it in the papers, because they were told it was illegal, they were told it had to be taken down, and they refused to take it down. And I think the public.
District, you know that, right?
I know you're part of the park, the
We're
town board
we're
is?
The town board's.
Oh, no, I didn't know the town board was the parking. Oh, thank you. I learn something new every day. But the language of the easement doesn't seem to say anything about having the theater conduct a business as a performing arts center. The easement allows the theater to conduct activities like putting up a ramp, accepting deliveries, installing landscaping, awnings, in furtherance of the performing arts function. It has nothing to do with catering. The catering, like weddings and receptions are catering facilities under the town zoning code. And so, as I said previously, they're rather than acting like they have an easement over the property, they're trying to treat it as fee ownership without actually buying the property. And I really think the town needs to look at that and not let something like that happen. And the fact that the prior town administrator did this, or administration did this, I don't think necessarily ties this administration's hands as far as that easement goes. And that perhaps the current administration might consider condemning back the property burdened by the easement, because it's creating a situation where we're losing a big chunk of parking for, I'm not even sure what purpose. You know, it's not even clear from the site plan what's going to happen to it. And the lack of parking was already a problem, as previous people have said. And it's now that those spaces are gone, we're concerned that, you know, when we get there in the morning, we might get a space. When we leave and we go to court, when we come back, we're not going to have a space. And we've already had to park on the other side of Roanoke. So it's a really major concern. And the fact that the theater brings a lot of money in and everybody wants it to be successful, it shouldn't have come at the expense of other businesses. We shouldn't worry about our businesses and our clients are going to come and have no place to park. So I think, like I said, that if the application could be split, deal with the green room part, get that part done, and wait and really look at what might be done to solve this issue with the parking and the easement, and whether or not they even have the ability to use it the way they want to use it.
All right.
All right?
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Does anybody else wish to get heard? You could state your name and affiliation for the record. That would be
Hello, my
great.
name's Patricia Carroll. I'm an attorney also with Essex Scepter and Angel. I'm not here in that capacity. I'm here as just a citizen who works next door to the Suffolk Theater. And I have one very specific concern, and it's that fence. Because very often I work late. Unfortunately, that's part of the job. And sometimes it can be a little scary going out to my car. But if they're going to put up an 8-foot fence that is basically going to obscure my ability to see what's out there beyond the fence, and also prevent the police from looking in and seeing who's coming out, it's a real security concern. And you can come down after it's dark and see how scary it already is. But if you put a fence up there, so I'm going down basically an alley that no one can see me, it's really not right. And that is my one concern, and I really hope that the board will look into that carefully, because something's going to happen if not. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
employee of Essex Hefter and Angel, and I'm a legal assistant there, and I've worked there for 29 years. I'm speaking today for myself, and I believe on behalf of my fellow employees, at least the female ones. From a safety standpoint, I strongly oppose the 8-foot fence that's being proposed along that walkway from the exit gate, along that slate fence walk by the church, and the proposed parking fence, that fence area. That will create an extremely narrow, darkened alley-like area. Last winter, when the daylight ended around 4:15, I was exiting our office with 2 other women and was almost attacked by an individual who was lingering around the back of the church area by the soup kitchen. I had to practically run to my car and to get away from him. The visibility is very poor as it is currently, and if that fence is erected, as Ms. Carroll said, it'll be practically impossible to see. We later found out by the police that that person lived in a homeless shelter and was not mentally stable. I grew up in New York City and never had an issue such as this. We have nothing against the theater. The theater's great. It's a great addition. But that alley-like proposal with that fence installation is really very disturbing. And as Lisa said, I'm also concerned about the loss of parking spaces with the school, with the church, with the gym, and all the theater events, which generally run late in the day. And that parking area that they have cordoned off all morning and all day long is empty until later on in the afternoon. So they're cordoning off 20 spaces at this time. We have to park all the way across Roanoke. So that's our concern, my concern. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Next speaker. You identify your name and affiliation for the record.
Good afternoon. My name is Chip Williford. I'm the technical director as well as the visual artist for the Suffolk Theater. I'm just one of the many employees at the Suffolk Theater. There are people who are young, going to school. There are senior citizens. There's Black, Latino, white. There's people there who have a sense of pride in the Suffolk Theater and the work that Bob and Diane Castaldi has done. Saying that, I've been there for 4.5 years, and I had a conversation with Bob. I looked in his eyes, and he had this passion for his dream of restoring this wonderful theater. And I recognize that passion because I too have a dream. My dream is to provide for my family, so just like so many other employees. And it is so important to us at the theater that we have a green room. Without a green room, we can't bring in acts. Without acts, we wouldn't be there. And if we're not there, then we're in unemployment, and that's not going to be good. I have one suggestion in listening to the people at the law office. Perhaps, just perhaps, there can, with the fence, maybe you can have mirrors and lights. The mirrors like they have in Beverly Hills to see the driveway or something, you can see what's coming around the corner. But I just want to stand with Bob and Diane and say that this theater is very important for the town of Riverhead and also for the employees of the Suffolk Theater like myself. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bob Castaldi, Suffolk Theater.
How you doing, Mr. Castaldi?
That's what this is about, right?
Oh, I said, how are you doing?
Yeah, we'll find out. Just to address some of the concerns that I heard with the church. I did speak with Sean, and I'm looking at the drawing, but the dumpster is going, I offered to put it on our property, on our space, And we did provide a 8-foot wide gate there so that they could have access to their dumpster. I'm looking at the drawing, I don't have a scale with me, but I don't think it's gonna be any more than 5 feet further than you need to walk right now. And the gate is also there at a request of the fire marshal as well for that. I heard some other comments, there's no parking at 10. We're taking up from where the parking from the tree, I don't know if you know where the tree is, but we've got, I think it's 4 or 5 spots that now is gonna lay in that easement area. We have nobody going to that theater at 10 o'clock, other than a couple of people that work there, the people that do work there. It's the gym. The gym starts at 7 o'clock, I think, and
4.
they need a place, excuse me?
4 a.m.
4 a.m., all right.
Not that I'm there. I am aware that it's open.
So, you know, so they're, I mean, they're there, and I'm not an expert on lawyers, but they're usually coming in 9, 10 o'clock. So they're walking that distance anyway, regardless where our fence is. And if it's 4 spots or whatever it is, it's another 30, 40 feet. I mean, that's a kind of short walk to have the theater do what it's got to do and keep 70 people employed.
Thank you.
As far as the alley, and again, without a scale, the fence that we're going to be putting up and the church, we're creating, by doing that, an alley of about 30, 35 feet. It's as wide as the alley between, on our east side, between the theater and the gym, which is 150 feet. So whatever problems anybody's concerned about, we have the same problems times 5 on the other side. And like Chip said, a couple of mirrors, which may not be a bad idea on both sides, and some lights, that would probably go a long way.
All right, thank you, Mr. Castaldi. Does anybody else wish to be heard today?
Good afternoon. My name is Merjam Bazdari. I'm an attorney from Lake Success. I represent the Castaldis. I've known them for over 30 years and represented them during that time. I am asking you today to act quickly and approve this site plan. The theater needs it. We need a green room. Lisa Ross's firm, as landlord, removed us from the green room, which we rented from them for 4.5 years. I also want to correct Dan Binderman. He mentioned the fact that the Castaldi spent a small fortune on this theater. No, they spent a large fortune of their own money. It wasn't bank loans, it was money that they earned and they put into this town. And what proves their intent and their passion other than reaching into your own pocket and creating one of the most beautiful theaters in the state of New York? We all know if that theater doesn't have a green room, they will shut down. And all the people working there will lose their jobs. And it will affect business on Main Street and beyond. The Castaldis created a landmark. This landmark has fueled the resurgence of Riverhead. Now we have our next door neighbor. I can't even say that this is the tail trying to wag the dog. This is one hair on the tail trying to wag the dog. I don't envy Lisa Ross. She's here representing her firm. But I think that the position they took that has put us all here today is untenable, as you have said it. So I ask you to please act quickly and let's move forward.
So here's the problem. Site plan, if I'm not mistaken, it's we do a preliminary approval. After discussion, we always leave everything open for public comment. We will leave it open to the 15th. But don't we do, Jeff, a preliminary approval and then the final approval? So this is not gonna happen today. And the only thing that I can ask is that Steve Angel provide a little breathing room so we can figure it out, because if the board's not letting the theater shut. It's not happening. So something's going to get approved. And if Mr. Angel would like something approved that was a little more tenable to him, then where is the attorney? Oh, there you go. What I'd like you to take back to Mr. Angel is that unless he wants us to act very hasty, because we're not letting the theater shut. It's not happening. We will do what it takes to make sure there's a green room. But if Mr. Angel can give us a little breathing room so we can review the different comments here, allow it to be open for 10 days or whatever to the 15th, that would be greatly appreciated. So, but if he's not willing to do that, then I guess I could close all comment off today and move the process forward. But it's up to you. Can you step up and see if you can make a representation as to whether we can get a little breathing room here? Because you're driving the train here fast.
Unfortunately, I can't make a representation
And I'm
about
going to
what
close the
Mr.
public
Angel's
comment
able to do.
today. Then I'm going to close the public comment today to move it along. I can't, you guys are driving the train too fast.
I asked if you could split the site plan application.
I can't do that.
Nobody has any objection to the green room. That's what the issue is.
What I'm
the
asking
green
you
room.
is to call Steve Angel right now. We'll all wait and see if he'll give a little breathing room of 30 days. If you won't,
Mr. Angel's having some very serious personal issues with a medical issue with a family member.
I'm sorry
I
to
haven't
hear
brought it
that.
up to this point, but
You guys are driving the train too fast, and if I can't, we're not letting the theater shut. I will close the public comment today, and that cuts off all your comments.
all right, I have a question, because it was represented that the green room, that they've left the green room. My last time I looked in the green room, because we have access to it, everything's still in
You
there.
have a warrant, they have a warrant, you have a warrant of eviction.
They have not left the green room.
Mr. Casali, so I understand that there's, Mr. Merge, could you step up again? Are you the attorney that handled the eviction, Merge? I'm sorry, I shouldn't call you Merge, I can't.
Yes,
Okay, so was there a warrant of eviction issued?
yes.
Okay, so if you're willing not to serve that warrant of eviction on the sheriff to get them removed, that will give us another 30 days
The warrant was already served?
to the sheriff.
To the sheriff, well, because it takes
That's it.
weeks
We're
to
moved.
get
That-
anything done.
That's it. You've sealed your own fate.
No, I have
with a
not. I
poor
can
decision.
contact the sheriff's department and ask him to hold off on doing anything on it, because the first thing that happens is a 72-hour notice. That usually takes weeks anyway.
Can you do that?
I can do that, yes, I can do that.
Can you give us 30 days? That gives us a better ability to make a good decision for you, for the church, for Suffolk Theater.
I'm gonna have to call the office, because I'm not gonna say.
We're waiting.
Okay.
I don't know how to explain this. There are a lot of moving parts on this. We are waiting for the axe to fall. Everybody in my office has spent 2 months looking for a trailer. You just don't find.
Bob, let me merge. Can you just talk to Bob for a second about what I'm trying to do here? I think you might understand what I'm trying
Sean,
to
I
do.
understand what you're doing, but as long as that's hanging out there, the second we officially get thrown out of there, that's officially the end. I've got a line on the trailer. We've got our existing fence coming down tomorrow.
Bob, you understand that
I'm trying to
this-
solve a problem, and
Okay.
I've got days, not a week, not a month.
It is not possible for the town board to approve this tonight. It's not gonna happen, it's not possible. I'm trying to buy you some time. You should talk to your attorney about how I'm trying to buy you some time. And please, Bob, I wouldn't say too much more. I think you should talk to your attorney
I
about how
got
I'm
one
trying.
more thing to say, Sean. I appreciate what everybody's trying to do. and I appreciate all the people that have come out here in support.
I'm trying to
But
buy
Mr.
you.
We offered to give Mr. Angel space back there until
Okay.
we really needed it. And
If
he
you keep
wants us to
pushing-
give him the land.
Merge, if he keeps pushing, I'm just gonna leave it open until the 15th, and you know what? Let the chips fall where they may. You guys.
We're done.
Thank you, sir. All right, does anybody else wish to be heard on this while we wait for Essex, Hefter, and Angel? I feel like a judge and not a town supervisor. Does anybody wish to be heard on this public hearing? All right, I'm gonna suspend this public hearing for a few minutes to take comments on resolutions. Does anybody wish to be heard? So the time is now 3:46. We're going to suspend this for a few minutes and take comments on resolutions. Does anybody wish to be heard on resolutions?
Hi, yes, Laura Jen Smith from Laurel. I would like to comment on Resolution 687 for the final site plan application for Riverview Lofts.
Okay, we'd ask you to limit your comments to 5 minutes.
Okay, I mean, I've been up here many times, and you've heard from the comments today. I would ask you to consider parking mitigation before you approve this site plan approval. One of the other issues that I have on the resolution on page 2 is the height of the building at 74 feet 3 inches. At 74 feet 3 inches, it puts it over the allowable height of 60 feet, even when you account for the slope of the land, which gives you, I think, another 9.25 feet. So that would leave you at like 72, 73 feet, and you have at 74 feet, so you're over the height limitation with this application.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody else wish to be heard on resolutions? Mr. Woodson.
George Woodson, Highway Superintendent. I just have a question. Will you be pulling any resolutions off the
We're
floor?
going to take a resolution off the floor to, which we discussed last week, to incorporate certain roads in the town of Riverhead pursuant to highways by use. It didn't get put in the package. It's probably my fault. They were waiting on me. And these are the roads in Oak Hills.
And what are they going to be taken under?
Section 189, New York State Section 189, the same as the other roads were previously taken in back in 2004.
And have you discussed this with the highway superintendent or the town attorney?
We had a
Or
meeting last
I'm
week.
not finished yet. Or anybody that may have knowledge on what you're doing? Is it legal, is it illegal?
We had a work session last week where we discussed it, and the board has made the determination to...
All the board?
You'll see, I don't know how the board's going to vote.
We discussed it in
I
an
think you
executive
probably do
session.
know how the vote's going to vote.
Right. Okay?
All right.
All right, thank you. I don't know that that young lady is back. If there are no other, resolutions?
Yes, just Laura Jen Smith for the resolution, if that resolution is to be taken off the floor. Are you required to have a public hearing to add additional roads to the town's highway?
No, the public
as you did
hearing,
with-
public hearing was held previously.
But weren't the roads listed in the previous public hearing?
Under town one.
We're
And the town roads were
taking-
listed, so if we're adding additional roads, should-
taking the roads pursuant to the original public hearing.
these roads were listed on the original
Yes,
public
they were.
hearing?
Yes, they were. Yes, they were. Thank you. Does anybody else wish to be heard on resolutions? The lady in the back, because she's kind of standing waiting.
My name is Cindy, hello? My name is Cindy Clifford. I'm a resident of Riverhead. And I've been watching this information about the Riverhead lofts, and I'm really concerned about two things, well, actually three. The first is it seems that there's some sort of an absence of common sense, and I'm not sure where that's coming from. But my two issues are, I went down to Turquoise for dinner about 2 weeks ago, couldn't find a parking space, and looked over at where the new building was going to be and thought, how's anybody going to park after that? You're allowing 55 parking spaces for a 116-unit complex, is that correct?
The parking, the building is in the parking district. The parking district does not require you to provide parking. They are providing 55 spots.
Okay.
And the town is well aware. The last parking district analysis that I heard somebody speak about, and I think it might have been in this impact statement, I can't even remember where all these, but basically, we have like a 40% parking vacancy in downtown.
I don't know that I would
so,
agree with that, like, at any given point, since
so-
I have a hard time finding places sometimes.
You can't, as with any successful downtown, you're not always going to be able to park right behind the back door.
Not even looking for that. But let me also mention, I believe that the town spent over $500,000 on a study where it was recommended that any apartment, any housing would supply enough parking to accommodate their tenants.
You'd have to cite that study. I don't think.
It's the brownfield something or
I think
other.
you're gonna have to
I'm
cite
not
that.
in politics.
I know, it doesn't. You don't have to be in
All
politics.
right, but I mean, you know about it? Are you aware of the study?
You're mischaracterizing it.
Do you not know what I'm talking about?
The BOA study.
You're mischaracterizing what it says.
Did it not advise that there should be enough parking to accommodate
I
housing?
think if you want to get the study and look at the section.
Is that not what it said, though? I'm just asking, because
I'm just saying to you that if you have something specific that you want to bring up out of the study, you should have the study, because I can't comment on what it may or might not say without having it in front of me.
I'm not a politician.
You don't have to be a politician to be
I'm not a
informed.
reporter. I'm just a person who lives here.
Okay, so-
And so I get the gist of it, which is that however the wording was, essentially the recommendation for a study that the town paid a significant amount of money for had some sort of correlation between housing and parking.
I
Would you
think-
give me that?
I think that if you want to cite to the study, bring it and we can take a look at it.
All right,
All
so
right.
beyond that, then the other issue, because if you, and not you personally, but like the entire board, I just think that if you're gonna move ahead with this site plan, that maybe you wanna like add something about that maybe there needs to be more parking as part of it. It's 116 units, right? And
Thank
like 55, like who doesn't have a car and who doesn't have two cars? So you have 116 units and there are 55 spots. And then I also learned that there are two pretty large restaurants that are going to be part of this complex. And I think that that's a disservice to all the local small businesses, all the restaurants on Main Street now, because how are they going to compete with some giant franchise? And where are those people going to park?
I don't know that there's a franchise, but if you're
Is it
5
like a
minutes-
250-seat restaurant?
You're 5 minutes.
Wait,
is-
why am I only getting 5 minutes and everybody else got as long as they
Because we
needed?
give 5 public hearings, people have unlimited. The town
I see.
board rules give 5 minutes for open
Like I
comment on
said,
resolutions.
I'm not a politician, I'm not a reporter.
You
I
don't have
just
to be a
live here,
politician
and I
to
just care
understand the
about it.
rules. Thank you.
So, anyway, if you would all just take into consideration, maybe delaying it until you can, like, request that they put in more parking. Couldn't you do that?
Thank
Isn't
you.
that within your power? Is it?
Thank you.
Is it?
Are you done?
I'm asking a question, could you give me the answer?
I'm,
Is it within your realm that you could suggest that the plan include more parking?
It's been suggested.
Excuse me?
It's been suggested.
And they've said no?
They can't accommodate it on their property.
So does that make you rethink approving it?
I didn't approve it if you follow what's
Good.
going on in town.
Yeah, I try. I
Well,
just, all
And
right,
the town didn't pay any money for that study, for the record also.
okay,
That
all
was a
right,
grant from the state.
all right.
all right,
Anyway,
thank you.
thank you. It's been
Anybody else
lovely.
with Ms. Zank?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Yes, I'm going to speak to Resolution 687, and that is the final site plan approval for Riverhead Lofts, and just make an observation or two. I think it makes sense not to approve this. I think it makes sense to go back into the secret process and to dovetail on what the last woman said. This is a very important point. SECRA, the bottom line on SECRA, under the Holmes test says you have to identify the areas of environmental concern, you have to thoroughly analyze them, and you have to have a reasoned elaboration for what you do. It's very clear, especially from the Suffolk County Theater argument, that parking is of great concern. It's very clear to me, I haven't lived in Riverhead, but my client is telling me parking is of great concern. This is an area of environmental concern. By doing SECRA, the board gives itself the power to make sure every one of those dear people, new people, has a parking space. And I'm told it's 116 times 1.5. We already have a big fight just today in Suffolk Theater, so we see the parking's limited. Now, I believe you can probably require that, since they are bringing it to the town, off-site parking, if they can't do it on-site, you can do it. And by not doing the secret process, you have hurt yourselves, and you've hurt the town because you can't do a mitigation measure. I spent several hours in the law library on another case the other day, and I find, because legislative bodies are so important, courts defer to you. And pretty much, if you have a rational basis, and you have evidence in the record, the court will uphold you getting these extra things to the public. We're not saying this project is necessarily a bad idea. We're saying it's a great opportunity for Riverhead. There's a lot of things on the line here. Get your best thinking. Get everybody out there. Look good publicly. It doesn't hurt when election comes up to have listened to people. It's all you have to do. I would recommend strongly that council takes a look at the notice. I think he will find, if he looks at the case law, it is inadequate. I think it will be remanded if it goes to 78. I just want to give people a chance to talk.
Thank you.
Hold on one second, sir. You would, of course, have to rescind the negative declaration. As I said, and council can check this as well, it's a low threshold. It may have a significant impact on the environment. We already see parking is definitely an area of environmental concern. The school district is economic concern, but what's it, 30 years of tax abatement, 25, quite a lot. I think you can do better than that. The mix of housing is so critical to the businesses and to, I don't even know if it's going to the local residents for sure on your affordable housing. I don't know what your strengths you have or conditions you have, but you want to do it well. So I don't know, maybe the project's, I don't want to grade it, but why not get an A? There's no skin off your nose. It looks great politically. It's going to save legal costs. I say rescind the negative declaration, do a positive declaration.
All right,
Don't do
thank
the
you,
hearing
Ms. Knapp.
tonight.
I got to open up the other public hearing
Yes,
again.
and
Are you
Mr. Su-
are you finished?
Yeah, Mr. Supervisor, I want to thank you again. In Southampton, we don't get a chance to comment on the resolutions per se. There's an open mic session. You have allowed me that comment, and I deeply appreciate that courtesy, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, Gio, one last comment, and then I got to open the other public hearing.
Couple of things, because I wasn't sure whether I was supposed to ask questions on something that I knew nothing about. You guys are being some of you are being so secretive about it. So I guess I can ask my questions now, before you
Can
bring
ask
it up?
you- We told, last week at executive session, you kind of stormed out of my office when we told you that the board
Yeah,
had
because you were
decided to
doing
vote
stuff
for
in
this.
secret. If you're gonna take over roads, who takes care of the roads in Riverhead? I do.
Okay.
How come I wasn't informed of it?
And the
We told you
executive
yesterday.
session, the executive session was to discuss a settlement of litigation with Oak Hills. It was not to discuss taking in the roads under Highway 289. This should have been done in a public work session, in my opinion.
It should have been done. I mean, I have, where's this money coming from? If we, just so everybody knows, there's a town of Cortland 189 we took over a couple of years ago, and there's a state 189. There's a difference. Where's the money coming from to take care of these roads in this area?
Well,
If you're gonna sell, why are we settling anyway?
We're not
We're not
settling.
set, it just doesn't settle the case, but it puts the precursor. But you have a lot of money in your budget because you consistently underspend your.
I'm not spending
Mr.
taxpayers' money
Mr.
on a
Woodson,
private road.
You
I'm not doing it.
consistently underspend your budget. Last year, you underspent it by $500,000. I think the year before, you underspent it by $250,000. And if I'm not mistaken, you underspent it the year before that.
And the money that I'm saving, we're putting up a $600,000 building we're buying equipment with, because we went bonding for money years ago. And we didn't have, how can you buy equipment with $50,000?
All right, Mr.
What
Woodson,
township? No,
do
I
you have
gotta
any
say what
other
I got, I
comments?
gotta say what I gotta
Okay, go
say.
ahead.
You wanted to sneak up on this, so I got questions. First of all, you're not even having a public hearing. Did you ask the town attorney his opinion on this?
We had a conversation with the town attorney.
I think that the public hearing was to take the roads in under Town Law 189, not State Law 189. So
That's
I
what it
think
was
that a
supposed to
public
be,
hearing
town,
was supposed
town
to
law
be
189 under the
held
town,
for state.
not state.
Because you're gonna get a lot of other people that live in the private communities that came out when we were talking about taking the roads in and under Town Law 189, that live on private roads throughout the town that wanted their roads maintained also. You're gonna have those people come out and say, hey, you know, we're under Town Law 189, the town will have to continue performing the maintenance that they had been, which was, you know, leaf removal, cleaning of drains, cold patching, and things of that nature. But when Mr. Woodson and I went out and met with Oak Hills originally, they showed us an estimate for $37,000 to pave their roads and said that they didn't have the money. And that's why they wanted this taken in under State Law 189, so that we would be obligated to pave those roads.
But we have the money to pave them because we underspend our budget every
We
year.
don't have the money to pave every
That's
single private road
Public
in this
money,
town.
you're gonna use public money to pave private roads, that's what I'm understanding? Because it's not gonna happen with my budget, I can tell you that right now.
I just want one
The
thing to
money's
say
not
about-
coming out of my budget for that.
I just want one thing to say, Mr. Woodson. He's one of the only and very minority departments in this town that underspends his budget. He does a great job.
And it's not by,
conserving
not to
money. So, I
interrupt,
mean,
but
But
not,
he adds things like the building you just mentioned, where you're gonna put,
storage,
8 trucks out
12.
of the weather, so they last longer. And I have to compliment you on this, and I go along with Councilwoman Giglio. I think the public hearing was for the town roads and not the state roads. And this community always had a private road sign up, and I have the email requesting, when we took them on the 189 town, that they take that private road sign off. And the first thing under this resolution is that it's been open to the public for 10 years. It hasn't been.
Okay.
It was a private community just for residents only, and I know you're gonna start paving all the roads, and a lot of these roads are driveways. They're as wide as a driveway, and we have to maintain them as we do a regular town road, and that means that sometimes you may have to go in and make them wider if they request it.
there's no room for that.
You know, there's a lot of stuff that this entails in the state road.
Is there any, can you wrap it up, Joe, because I really gotta
I
get back
think
to
I'm,
the
I
public
think I'm
hearing.
entitled to my time, and I'm an elected official,
Okay, then
just like you are. I just have some questions I wanna ask before you vote on it.
Because I really have to go back
Because
to this.
in the end, I'm gonna have the final say, not you.
That, you're right, you will
I
have
know.
the
I
final
just
say
want
as
you
to
to know
whether
that.
those roads get paved
Will the
or
people,
how you
will the public still have access to the beaches if we go under this?
Beaches have nothing to do with the road.
Oh, now it doesn't? I beg to
Beaches never
differ.
had anything to do
Mr.
with that.
Cause, what do you say?
All right.
Can't give legal advice on a record.
Let's do
I
it.
mean, I can do
Let's
it
get it
behind- I
squared.
can do it on, it violates attorney-client to do it
Is
publicly.
there anything else, Mr. Woodson?
All right.
I'm not gonna.
You make your decision.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, I'm gonna reopen the last public hearing, which was scheduled, well, we're reopening the last public hearing on the Suffolk Theater. Where did we wind up?
I had a question, because this was unclear to me. When Mr. Castaldi got up, he talked about how the width of where the alleyway is the same width as the other alleyway. I don't see that at all, and I
You know,
just wanted
that's
to...
why we're trying to get some more time from your.
No, I understand. I
Trying
did
to
call
figure
the-
all this out.
No, I did call the office. Maybe I didn't explain it as well as you said it, because I spoke to Mr. Pasca, who said it sounded like we were being strong-armed into a decision because we wouldn't agree to letting the theater continue to use the green room. I said, I don't know, it felt a little like you were trying to
Okay,
convince us.
What was the answer?
The answer is, what he said is that there's no way that the sheriff will ever evict within 30 days.
I'm looking for you to extend it 30 days so we can have a little extra time to try to move this program, this site plan through without moving it through too quickly. I'm asking for 30 days, in addition to your normal 30 days. But if you're not willing to...
No, it's not my time, it's the sheriff's time, when you serve
I'm
a warrant.
asking, what I asked is if your law firm would give an additional 30 days not to execute the warrant of eviction.
I understand, but you also said otherwise, we're
I
basically
have
gonna
to
make a
move this
decision.
very quickly.
Well, and you also said, don't you want more say in maybe some of
Because I would leave it open for public comment to the 15th, otherwise, we're not obligated to leave it open for public comment, but I can't let the theater be in a position where they don't have a green room.
Well, they apparently do have a green room, because they're still there, even though they had served
I
with a
can't
warrant of
have a
eviction.
situation where the sheriff comes in and you have Arlo Guthrie dressing in the green room, and the sheriff throws him out. So, instead of giving you some extra time, the public some extra time to comment, I'm going to end public comment today. If you afforded me 30 days, I would afford you, 9 days, because we're 9 days, and we have a little extra time. But if you don't want to do that, that's fine. I'll just cut the public comment off at the close of this hearing,
Well,
And then
I
we'll
would have
move
asked that you leave it open, only because I
I'm
feel
not
like.
going to, because we need to move very quickly, because we don't need Arlo Guthrie getting evicted.
But I really feel like that the notice that went out by the theater, they made it very unclear what was really even being voted on. So
Okay.
I don't think people really
It's not being
understand.
voted on today.
No, but they would have probably had a little bit more to say about the issue with the parking, if they knew the parking was an issue.
Which is why I'm asking you for more time, so we can flush those issues out, but if you're not willing to give more time, I can't have Arlo evicted. I love Arlo.
When's Arlo coming?
I don't know, when's Arlo coming? You gotta get him back. All right, so you're not authorized to give more time, I get it.
I'm not authorized to.
Okay, are there any other comments on this public hearing? Not seeing any, I officially close the public comment period, and we will move forward with the site plan. Thank you very much. Let's take up resolutions.
Nobody else needs to comment on resolutions?
I think so.
Any more comments?
Oh, Denise Lucas is waiting in the hallway. Have Denise Lucas come out. What was the first resolution?
Capital project.
What was it?
665.
What is she here for? Capital project.
All right, so, Denise wants to show the dog that they're naming the center at. Is Denise here? Yeah.
Ugly meeting.
Denise, come on up. We want to thank you. We want to thank you, Denise. We want to thank you for your organization making that donation that we're going to accept very shortly. And we understand that this is the... So Duke Lucas will have his own waiting room.
He wanted to say hi to you, Sean. He wants to get hair all over those nice suits of yours.
Enjoying my dog's hair.
Believe it or not, he's really sick. He has diabetes, thyroid problems. He was going to get put down about 2 months ago. So he gets to come. He does look good because he likes the people and the excitement.
How old is he, Denise?
He's only 11, but he's had a rough life, you know.
Like that?
He has he'll have a couple of things named after him, because he's got the St. Isidore driveway in the front of the school named after him.
This is one of his last hurrahs. This is Splish Splash on Tuesday, so.
He might be around longer than you think. Well, Denise, we thank you very much.
We want to say hi and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Denise.
Come on.
For all your help.
Denise,
Thank you.
let's start, I'm not Denise, it's Diane. Diane, let's take up the resolutions.
Resolution 665.
The Free Sports Bay encasement capital project number 20011, closure. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 666.
Oh, boy. Princess Laundry Sewer Improvement Capital Project 20015 is a closure. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 667.
Riverhead Bay Motor Sewer Extension Capital Project number 20076, closure. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 668.
213 Sweezy Avenue reconstruction capital project number 45120, closure. So moved.
Thanks, Councilman Hubbard.
Oh.
Seconded by Councilman Dunleavy.
Moved and seconded as,
Sorry.
vote
Hubbard.
please.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 669.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Sewer belt filter replacement capital project number 70063, closure. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 670.
The 2016 funding of Calverton Recreational Park Project. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 671.
is Buildings and Grounds Equipment Budget Adjustment. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 672.
Suffolk County Council Boy Scouts Water Service Installation, Water Capital Project, Budget Adoption. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 673.
Acceptance of 2016 audited Community Preservation Fund. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 674.
Authorize the supervisor to execute a professional services agreement with Business Automation Services, BAS, for tax collection software. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
This is another step closer to getting us off of the antiquated mainframe. The town of Riverhead has never had an enterprise solution where all the departments had software where they could interact with each other. And this is another step in that direction to make information more accessible, not only to town employees from their desks, but to the public as well. So it's a great thing, and I thank the town board for working with me and for funding it, because it's a wonderful thing. So thank you, and yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution
I know.
675.
What number?
675.
Appoints a member.
Appoints a member to the Parking District Advisory Committee. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard.
Yes, Mr. Sinlewski was on the Parking Advisory Committee prior to me getting on the board. His work schedule at the time forced him to leave. He's asked to be reappointed, and that's what this is about. So we're going to place him back on the Parking District Committee.
Fantastic, free architecture work.
Yes.
Giglio. Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 676.
Authorizes attendance of assessor at seminar. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 677.
Authorize the Community Development Department to apply for a technical assistant grant program for the Benjamin Bond. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 678.
It ratifies the execution of a license agreement with the Department of the Navy for the Epcal recreational walking/bike trail. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
One step closer to getting the grant money from the county and the state to complete this trail. So the Navy has given us the rights to use the Navy property. We did get the license agreement, the deputy supervisor signed it, and that was sent off to the Navy. So now we are just waiting for the meets and bounds description of the trail and the boundary map to send to the county and the state. The project will be funded, and hopefully we will have this recreational trail up and running by November. Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 679.
Is,
June.
talk too much during the break.
See?
Okay. Approves the attendance of one police department employee to New York State 2017 homicide seminar. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 680.
Amends resolution number 626. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 681.
Authorize the attendance of one police department employee to the 2017 IACP conference. So moved.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 682.
Accepts the highway superintendent's personnel report and requests for the town board resolution to effectuate personnel requests. Did you say
Oh,
something?
yes, there's, in the now therefore be it resolved clause, the last sentence, it says technical salary schedule of CSEA contract effective, it should say before that semicolon, effective September 18th, 2017.
Where you at?
right before, in the now therefore be it resolved,
Right.
technical salary schedule of the CSEA contract, semicolon, before the semicolon, effective 9/18/17, then the semicolon, and be it further. They're just putting the contract date in.
I see.
Does that make sense to you guys?
Yep.
But 9/18/17 hasn't come yet.
Oh, that's 15.
Okay.
15. When do we do the
What is it?
15? It's 15.
September 15th?
Right, here, you can say that. That's when the contract was,
Okay.
you can take that too.
Okay.
Okay.
So moved as amended.
Oh, moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard.
Hasn't been seconded.
Oh, seconded.
I'll
Jody
second as
seconded.
amended.
Okay.
There you
Hubbard.
Yes, as amended.
Giglio.
Yes, as amended.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes, was
Wal-
amended.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 683.
Authorizes the town clerk to publish a help wanted advertisement for a part-time maintenance mechanic. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 684.
Reclassifies the position of an account clerk typist. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 685.
Appoints a community relations specialist. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 686.
It transfers an account clerk typist. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 687.
Approves a final site plan application for Riverview Lofts, Georgica Green Ventures LLC, 221 East Main Street and 31 McDermott Avenue, Suffolk County Tax Map Numbers, District 600, Section 129, Block 1, lots 21 and 22. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard.
No.
Giglio.
Abstain.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 688.
Give me a minute to get to it. Here it is. Corrects resolution awarding bid for food and meat products 2017. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 689.
Authorization to publish an advertisement for chemicals for the town Riverhead Sewer District. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
No, Wooten.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Yes.
You were
Dunleavy.
looking at me. I figured I didn't hear you.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 690.
This confirms bid award for janitorial supplies 2017 and rejects the proposal submitted by Interboro Packaging Corporation. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 691.
Extends bid contract for lubricant items. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution
Can I see
adopted.
that resolution that I butchered the date on? Jill, you gotta figure this out. Is that when it's gonna be effective 9/18? All right, can you recall resolution 682? Give it. Recall resolution 682, accepts highway superintendent's personnel report and request for town board resolution to effectuate personnel request. Jim, can you recall that?
I can.
I put the wrong date.
But how do
You just want me to read it again?
It's effective, the date it's effective.
I guess they have to.
Right,
we have to amend it
prospectively,
again.
when he's gonna start on
Okay,
that
682,
salary.
it accepts the highway superintendent's personnel report and request for town board resolution to effectuate personnel request, with the resolve added that operational and technical salary schedule associated contract effective 9/18/17. So moved.
So that the effective date of his transfer is 9/18/17. It's poorly written.
Yes, it is.
It's poorly written, and we threw this in
And
there.
probably poorly
You
read.
understand?
That's
So
okay.
it's effective, the transfer, so
I knew that's
Can
what
we-
it meant.
Right, but then I changed it to 15 because I thought they were talking about the contract.
Me too, and I was
So
saying,
we have to
haven't
amend it
seen the
again.
Okay, so we amended it.
Right.
Can I get a
Clarified it.
second on that one?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Revote on that resolution, please.
Hubbard.
Yes, as amended, amended.
There you go.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Sure.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Okay, now where are we? We were at
692.
92, okay. Resolution 692.
Amends Resolution 426. So moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 693.
Authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement with Thompson Reuters Corporation. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 694.
It's a resolution to accept a donation with terms and conditions from Riverhead MTAS Incorporated. So moved.
And seconded.
Oh, I moved and seconded it. Look at that.
That's right.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 695.
That's me.
That's you.
That's,
695.
Skip Hubbard. Authorize the town of Riverhead to direct Claudette Grizz,
Grivaz.
G-R-I-V-A-Z, to remove all litter, garbage, refuge, rubbish, yard waste, weeds, noxious plants, grass, and/or rank vegetation in excess of 10 inches in height upon a premise known as 20 Jerome Circle, Riverhead, New York, 11901, also known as Suffolk County Tax Map Number 112-1-1-10, pursuant to Riverhead Town Code Chapter 251. So moved. It's about time.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Hubbard.
Absolutely.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 696.
Not unlike the last one, it authorizes the town of Riverhead direct Kevin Grattan to remove all litter, garbage, refuge, rubbish, yard waste, weeds, noxious plants, grass, and/or rank vegetation in excess of 10 inches in height upon the premises known as 51 Jessica Drive in Aquaborg, 11931, AKA Suffolk County Tax Map 85-4-9, pursuant to Riverhead Town Code Chapter 251. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 697.
Adopts a local law to amend Chapter 301 entitled Zoning and Land Development of River Town Code, Number 301-48, Uses, Hamlet Residential, HR, Zoning Use District. So moved.
I'll second.
There are gonna be amendments to this.
Oh, Lord have
Oh,
mercy.
you got an amendment?
Yeah.
What's the amendment?
I just handed up that page, and those are the insertions. There should be some secret recitals. It's type 2 action, because it's a different way we're applying the code, so.
So these secret recitals have to be put in.
That's correct.
Okay.
So we're not ready on this then?
No, we can.
We can
just
do it
have
with
to
those-
put the,
with those
we're just gonna
amendments.
amend it as amended with the secret recital. We just, somebody didn't put, you know,
The secret.
secret.
We're gonna, yeah, we have to amend this and put the secret recital in, and we're gonna.
Wait, let me guess. Type
Go
2
ahead.
neg deck? I know.
So with those three changes, the two whereases and the new now therefore be resolved, and the rest would remain the same.
Okay. Can we move that as amended with the addition of the secret recitals?
I move it as amended with the addition of the secret. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Hubbard.
Yes, as amended.
Giglio.
I think that this, the Hamlet residential encompasses more than the acreage that requires a review under secra, and so I'm not prepared to vote for it. I'm gonna vote no.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 698.
You.
Well, I'm sorry, I just got sidetracked. Oh, my gosh. 698, authorizing bow hunting for deer on town property, Enterprise Park at Calverton, Suffolk County Tax Map 600-135-1-7.33 at all. 1751 Sound Avenue, Calverton, Suffolk County Tax Map 600-60-1-2. 437 Youngs Avenue, Riverhead, Suffolk County Tax Map 600-80-2-6.1. And Middle Road, Riverhead, Suffolk County Tax Map 600-80-2-10.1, from October 2nd, 2017 to December 4th, 2017 inclusive. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard,
Yes, we have the lottery coming up for this, later this month, so if anybody is interested, they can call 727-3200, extension 253 with more information on same.
Giglio.
Yes, and this is for Riverhead residents only, and you have to reside in the town of Riverhead. You can't just own property in the town of Riverhead. You have to reside here, so, yes.
Wooten.
And it's important that the deer you're killing live here too, so yes.
We don't even get enough hunters, so we should probably open it up. We didn't get enough hunters
I
last
know.
year.
Dunleavy.
Yes, and I just want to ask that when you shoot from Middle Road, you shoot away from the house.
Residents,
Away from the
town
houses.
resident, and real property owners.
The houses are right next to this, so where people live.
Good advice.
And I know you only have to, what, 50 feet?
500.
Huh? No,
With
they
a bow.
changed
Not for
that.
bow.
Not with a bow, yeah, no,
With
no.
bow,
is
you have to be
500.
closer. So if you shoot away from them, it's better.
Yeah, right.
I vote yes.
I remember that, that was a few years back. Yeah.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 699.
I just want to say on that last one, they did open it up this year to property owners, so you don't only
Yes.
have to reside in the town of Riverhead. If you own property in the town of Riverhead, you can also get a hunting license,
Good.
probably because there was a shortage last
Yeah,
year.
we didn't have all the spots
So,
filled.
okay, resolution 699, amends and ratifies resolution number 605 of 2017, approves the application for fireworks permit of Riverhead Raceway, Saturday, August 12, 2017. So moved.
Seconded,
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard.
yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Finally had it, yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 700.
Authorizes the supervisor to execute a license agreement with Darkside Productions Incorporated, so moved.
And seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yep.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 701.
Approves Chapter 255 application of Citrus Fibrosis Foundation, Greater New York, Chapter CF Cycle for Life, Saturday, September 16, 2017. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 702.
We got a lot going on in October. It approves Chapter 255 application of Long Island Beer Company LLC for halfway to St. Patrick's Day party on Saturday, September 16th, 2017. So moved.
A second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard.
Glad to be Irish, yes.
Giglio.
I see that there is a clause in here saying that it shouldn't interfere with 5 o'clock mass from St. Isidore Church, so yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 704.
03.
Oh, I'm sorry, 703.
Approves the Chapter 255 application of the Sierra Club electric car display entitled National Drive Electric Week Event, Sunday, September 17, 2017. So moved.
Seconded,
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard.
yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 704.
Assumes lead, they don't, they're skipping all, huh?
What?
No, that's
They're
all.
skipping.
704 authorizes
704,
retention.
oh, 704. I was at
Yeah.
705, okay.
Trying to read it.
Go ahead, Hubbard.
Okay. Authorizes retention of the law firm of Sinerich, Kazakov,
Oh, that's that one.
not related to Kazakevich, Kazakov, Messina LLP as special counsel to defend legal action against the town of Riverhead, commenced by LuxuryBeachFrontGetaway.com, Incorporated, Virginia Greco and Debbie Niehoff. So moved.
Can we amend this that the deputy supervisor signs this, Bob?
Sure.
Okay. So amend it that the deputy supervisor can sign.
Supervisor or deputy
Right,
supervisor.
good, thank you.
Okay.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Giglio,
Yes, as amended.
Wooten,
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
I'm abstaining, I've recently retained one of these attorneys, so.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 705.
Assumes lead agency determination of certificate pursuant to SECRA and adopts a local law to amend chapter 301 entitled zoning and land development of the town, of the code of the town of Riverhead. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Giglio,
Historic centers.
Oh, this is the historic properties? This is the one that I was waiting for. 'cause
Right,
it-
right.
Thank you, Jeff, for getting me to that. Okay, yes, definitely.
Wooten,
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 706.
It's a resolution calling for a public hearing regarding lateral water main extensions for Peconic Care Research, Recovery, and Rehabilitation Center. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard.
One change.
One change.
The tax map number,
Okay.
it should read 0600
Right.
135
Right.
17.56.
Well, the seven's not supposed to be there.
Not supposed to be 17 and 17.
1,
So the
7.
the first 17 should be a 1,
Right.
second 17 should be 7.56.
7.56. That's a good catch.
That was Laverne.
So moved as amended.
Okay. Hubbard,
Yes, as amended.
Did we second that?
No.
I thought you did. I
No,
was
we
up to
didn't.
Hubbard.
Jody?
I think I
I'll
cut it
second.
short.
Okay.
Cut it
all
short,
right, we'll
yeah.
just-
So you
Where
moved
are
it.
we?
Jody, you did
I'll
second it?
second it.
Seconded, okay, now vote.
Now
please.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Okay. Giglio,
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes, whereas amended in, the first whereas.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 707.
Oh, good lord.
Someday when we get there.
Probably pays bills.
It is.
And that's mine, so resolution number 707 pays the bills.
That's the last one. Okay. Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Giglio,
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Dunleavy.
Yes.
Walter.
Yes.
Resolution adopted.
So we have one resolution we discussed to take off the floor. That was the resolution to incorporation of certain roads into the town of Riverhead Highway System pursuant to New York State Highway Law, Section 189, Highways by Use. Can I get somebody to move that resolution to take it off the floor and second?
I'll move that resolution.
I'll second that resolution. Moved and seconded, vote please.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Giglio,
I just want to say that today is the first day that I'm seeing this resolution. This resolution was not discussed at work session in a public session. It was not a matter of settlement negotiations, and I think it's very unfair to put this resolution forth. I think it's a very important matter that could be precedent-setting for the town, in town taking over and maintaining and being obligated to pave these private roads
So, yes.
within this development. Number one on the resolution says that, you know, we're doing it because, you know, we had a public hearing, but the public hearing was held on taking in roads under Town Law 189, which does not obligate us to maintain these roads. It obligates the maintenance that had occurred, that should have never occurred for years before this, for political purposes, I might add, for votes, that they never should have been maintained. The deeds for these homes within this private community specifically say that an association was formed and dues had to be paid into the association for the maintenance of these roads. And that was never done. So why is the town now saying,
Does that
okay,
mean you're
because
not voting for
you,
it?
no, I want to be heard because I wasn't heard at work session on it and I want to be heard now. So I don't understand why we're doing this, number one, okay? And I don't think that we can because we had to have a public hearing on it, in my opinion, and we didn't. The number one says that it had to have been open to the public for a period of time in excess of 10 years. It wasn't. They just took down the private road sign last year. And the deeds run through these roads. So the town of Riverhead does not own these roads. And this road leads to the end where there's a private beach and a private parking lot that residents of the town will not have access to. Number 2 says the 10-year period of public use was continuous and uninterrupted. Well, it was never used as a public road. It was a private road till last year when the private signs came down. And as I mentioned, it's still owned by the association. Number 3, Town of Riverhead Highway Department has continuously maintained and exercised control over these roads and kept them in repair for a period in excess of 10 years. The Town of Riverhead Highway Superintendent has not exercised control over these roads, and as a matter of fact, if these people that live within this association decided to put up a gate to stop the public from coming into their project, then there's no way that the highway superintendent could have had control over these roads. The fact that they didn't opt to do that is, their opinion, but they could have done it, and there's nothing that the Town of Riverhead could have done to stop them. Furthermore, I don't understand why we're doing this. The community sued the Town of Riverhead. We have been in litigation for a year plus. We have spent countless town attorney hours in going back and forth with the community's attorney in trying to come up with settlement negotiations. And as of yesterday afternoon at 3 o'clock, they still couldn't come to terms on settlement negotiations because the town board didn't agree to take all the roads in under State Law 189, maybe just the main road. And now this resolution doesn't even name the roads, so we don't even know what roads. So we're taking all of the roads instead of just the main road. The highway superintendent has said at other public hearings when it comes to this development that it's unsafe for his workers to go in there because the roads are substandard. In some areas, they're only 8 feet wide. And like Councilman Dunleavy said, they're driveways. So I don't know why we would put our workers at risk, why we would take over the responsibility of these roads in this private development that have deeds that go to the middle of the roads the Town of Riverhead doesn't own, and obligate ourselves to do that, when right now we're not obligated to do that. And I think that it's precedent setting. I think that we're opening up a can of worms, Pandora's box, for every other private community to come in and say, we want the same thing. And that will cost the taxpayers of the town a lot of money. I will refer to town attorney memo that I asked for, an opinion, a legal opinion, that, advised us against this. The highway superintendent says that he is not going to go in there and maintain and do this work in this private community, which is going to lead to further litigation and further expenditure of taxpayer money to defend a decision that, in my opinion, is, I still don't have an answer as to why we're doing it. And the only reason why I can think we're doing it is for votes and because it's political. And for that reason, I'm voting no.
Okay, there's two sides to every coin, as everybody knows.
Let's take it off the floor. You can talk about it.
Okay.
Get it off the
Sorry.
floor.
I mean, I've got a 14-page synopsis too.
Go ahead.
I vote yes to taking it off the floor.
John?
I vote no.
Okay, I vote yes. It's taken off the floor. Councilman Hubbard, would you move this resolution then?
Yes, I move this resolution. I just want to say that some of what Councilman Giglio said is correct, but some of what she said is not necessarily correct, or I don't view it as correct as to how things have been handled. We have so-called private roads in the town that have been paved and maintained, blacktop, completely maintained, snow plowed, potholes fixed, drainage work done, and they are in the same situation that these roads in Oak Hills are. The residents of Oak Hills, and I'm not running for re-election, so it's not for votes.
I get that with you.
The residents of Oak Hills pay public highway tax like everybody else in the town. These roads are not driveways. These are roads that lead to houses. Some of these roads are, yes, only 8 or 10 feet wide. They cannot be widened anymore. They will not be widened anymore. We have taken care of these roads for as far as I can remember back, going back many, many, many years. We have snow plowed, we've removed leaves, we've worked on the drainage up there, we filled in with cold patch. So yes, we have maintained those roads. And that coupled with the fact that other roads in the same situation that our highway department actually went out and blacktop would, in my opinion, lead a perfect situation for Oak Hills to win a lawsuit against us and cost us even more money. So that is why I chose to vote the way that I did, and I think it's proper and correct.
Okay, so that's moved. Is there a second, Councilman Wooten?
Yes.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Giglio,
I would just like to say that the roads that we did take in for paving were brought up to current standards. They were made the proper width of what our roadway systems should be.
That's not true.
Not
This
Fire
is-
Lane.
And not Fire Lane, but Fire Lane was listed on the town inventory in the town attorney's office at the time that it was paved. But there were other roads on Benjamin Street and Wading River where they were required to, the community had to come together and pay a ton of money
No,
to
they
get
didn't.
the roads up to current
Jody,
standards
they-
before we took the roads over. Yes,
Jody,
they did.
The numbered streets is a prime example, and Fire Lane, where George Woodson paved, was a paper street, that was
Yeah,
not
but we
Fire
don't
Lane.
have to pay for the sins of the father, and those were mistakes, in my opinion, that took place in 2004,
Where's the
and we don't
resolution?
have to repeat
Geo
those mistakes
paved-
now.
Geo paved that paper street.
Okay, so then let the judge decide. We're in litigation. Let the judge decide. No, I'm voting. I'm gonna speak my mind, Jim. Why do you want me to shut up about this?
Excuse me, you said your piece, you're just repeating yourself. I just want to know where
No,
we are
I'm
in the
not.
process, that's all.
You
I
know
don't know whether
what? We've already taken, we have already had a public hearing, and we have already taken all these roads in under Town Law 189, so that we will continue to maintain them for the same services that they had been maintained, as Councilman Hubbard said, with all due respect. By taking them on under State Law 189, we are obligated. We are setting ourselves up for litigation. The highway superintendent said he's not doing it. And I can't wait to see the decision of this board when the highway superintendent asks us for money for legal fees so that he can file an Article 78 against us, which is what his intention is to do. And this is gonna be something that is gonna be going on for a long time. And it's gonna cost the taxpayers a lot of money. I think it's a big mistake, and I think we should let the judge decide. And I am voting no.
Wooten,
Is this voting on the resolution?
Yes,
Yes.
it is.
Thank you. I've thought a lot about this, and believe me, this has been talked about in the paper and hashed about for 2 years now. This is not nothing new. This entire exercise was spurned out of a dispute when there was damage done by the highway doing work up there, plowing snow, and damaged somebody's driveway. So this whole exercise was brought out of, well, I damaged the driveway, but you know what, I was doing it as a favor, and now I'm not gonna do it anymore. So the whole thing was spurned out of malice as far as I'm concerned. This particular neighborhood, and a few others that I used to live on, by the way, always had highway services, plowing, paving, leaf pickup, like every other community. And it wasn't until this dispute arose that people dug their heels in the sand and tried to find out, hey, wait a second. It was just all done out of malice as far as I'm concerned. They don't want anything more or less than what they've been getting for well over a decade. And Geo has been working for this town just as long as I have, for almost over 35 years. And I'll tell you, he can attest that it's nothing new, what they're gonna be doing with these roads. So I support it, yes, I vote yes.
Dunleavy,
I guess I have to give my little speech.
You don't have to.
You don't have to.
I have to agree with Councilwoman Giglio. This is gonna open up a whole lot of private roads requesting to be taken in on the highway, State Highway Law 189. And I'm thinking about the manufactured home parks. They're all private roads. Why don't they request that we pave them and we maintain them? And that will mean that their rent will go down because the residents won't have to pay for them. So this is gonna open up a whole bag of worms for the town of Riverhead and our taxpayers. This is done for votes, and, you know, I agree. Supervisor said, this is 900 votes, John. Well, you know something? If you're doing your job, you're gonna be elected or not elected. If you're not doing your job, you're not gonna be elected. You don't have to give the rest of the taxpayers' money away to people. It's just paying for your votes, and I don't believe in that, and I don't think this is right. And he mentioned that we maintain the roads. We didn't maintain them as far as this is concerned. We plowed them like we plow any other road. That's because of safety if it snows and an ambulance has to get down there, they are plowed after all the other public roads are plowed. Or if an ambulance has to go in there, we send the plow ahead of the ambulance or the police car, and if, to clear the road to get them down there. The other thing is, the potholes were just filled in. The potholes were filled in. This way, we have to pave the roads, we have to maintain them as we do a public road like Howell Avenue out here. We'll have to do the same thing to these roads, and a lot of them are just driveways, where one car can only get down, you have to stop. These were not, this Oak Hill had a big sign up, private community. I made them take the private community sign down when we did a 189 Town Road. They took it down at that time, which was last year. I have an email that I can show everybody that they agreed to take the private road sign down. So, I gotta vote no.
Walter?
Yes, and no speech.
Okay. Resolution adopted.
All right, does anybody wish to be heard on any matter not before the board? Any matter that they'd like to bring up before the board? Do we ask you to limit your comments to 5 minutes?
I should be less than 50 seconds.
Mr. David Gallo.
David Gallo, President of George Good Green Ventures. I just wanted to let the town board know how excited we are to be moving forward. We appreciate the board's confidence. I think we started over 3 years ago where we started envisioning the downtown redevelopment, and we will continue to work hard, keep our head down, try to make everyone proud. We heard some comments today that we will reach out to them and look to address their concerns and move this forward in a positive way. And thank you again. Thank you for your confidence, and we will keep you updated.
Thank you, Mr. Gallo. Does anybody else wish to be heard this evening at this point? It is evening. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion, we adjourn the town board meeting. So moved.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstentions? We sit adjourned.
That was one of the most contentious meetings I think I've
Yeah, that was a good one.
That person had the comments for the record.
Comments for the record.
They approached the man, just say.
Oh, thank you.
Comments what?